Yo. What's up, everybody? Happy Monday. What's going on? Today's the day. Welcome back, guys. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you all had a great weekend. This Monday, May 22nd of 2023. Mr. Brian Koberger's arraignment hearing. How about that? Most of you all know what happened, but we're going to get into it and have a talk. Come on in, everybody. Grab a seat. Get comfortable. Grab your coffee, tea, whatever it may be. Come on in here. Sit down. Have a conversation with Mama and me. Lots to talk about. We're going to continue what we were talking about this past Friday. Open panel, open discussion. You are all invited. As well as what happened today, guys. Let's get this crazy show on the road. And we're off. Hey, what's happening? What's going on, everybody? Happy Monday. Mama Bear is going to be joining me. She will be here in a moment. Welcome. Hope you all had a great weekend. It's great to see you all back on this crazy Monday morning. Good to be here with you guys. Good to have you here. Thanks you so very much for joining me. Don't forget to leave some DNA on the like button on the way in the door. Please. I appreciate you guys so very much. Oh, yeah, we're going to watch it here in a minute. Once I get you guys all in here and comfortable and we get Mama Bear in here, we're going to watch it again. Pick it apart. Let's see who we got in the house with us. Miss Kim Marin, welcome. She's been here from the start of this. Good to see you, Kim. Mrs. M, welcome. Good to have you. Miss Sherry's in the house. Willow, great to have you. Miss Paula, good to see you. My darling, beautiful wife, Brandy, good to have you here, darling. Let me see. Lance, welcome. Good to have you here. Publicly Buzz, Stevie's in the house. What's good, brother? What's good? Good to see you. Thanks for joining us today. What's up? Let's see. Where's everybody else at? Not here yet. Everybody's still watching the news, I bet. I'm sure every creator in the world is live right now. That's it for now. Come on in, everybody. Grab a seat. Get comfortable. We got plenty to talk about. Miss Brandy's in the house. There she is. Miss Heather, welcome. Good to have you guys. Good to see you. Mama Dago's here. Yes. All right. Come on in, folks. Share this out, guys. Hit the like button on the way in the door, guys. We got to get back into that algorithm today. If you would, and share this out. Your brother, your sister, your mother, your father, the kids, the dog, the cat, the fish, whatever you got, mailman, milkman, whoever it is, share it to them. If you think they'd want to see it, share it out. Please do that and leave me a like if you would. I appreciate that so very much. So very much to talk about, guys. So very much. Come on in, folks. Grab a seat. Go grab all the others and bring them on in. I'm happy to have you here, Kim. I'm glad you're not working too. Come on in, everybody. Good afternoon, Mother. There's Mama Dago, folks. Mojo's in the house. What's up? Come on in, everybody. Miss Sophie, good to see you. Miss Cece, the sweetest lady on the internet, welcome. Good to have you here. Go grab your friends and relatives, guys. Bring them on in with you. We got plenty of room. Wonder where Mama Bear is. Miss Molly, I think. I saw Miss Molly. Good golly. Is that Miss Molly? Is she in here? She was in here. I swear I seen her. Good Lord. Where you at, Molly? If she's here, I swear she's here. I saw her. Good golly, Miss Molly. She's in the house as well. T2014, great to see you. Thank you so very much. Good. Oh, yes. It is after noon here, 12:43. So good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night, whatever it is. I hope it's good for you because it's good for me. Yeah, he definitely did not look as comfortable as he always does. Welcome, Miss Diane. Good to see you. The gag order hearings were supposed to be at 10 their time, which should be coming up here in 15 minutes. I don't know if that's going to be televised or not. I doubt it. I will keep you updated on it, though, as we are in here. There she is. Good golly, Miss Molly's in the house, everyone. Good morning, my dear. Good to see you. I can't believe it, folks. They got this trial set for October. We'll see if that happens. 31 awesome people in the house. Come on in. Come on in. Let me get this up here. And while we're waiting for Mama Bear to jump in. Okay, is it going to work for me or not? Nope, not that way. Okay, let's do it this way. Come on in, everybody. Good to see you guys. Thank you guys for joining me today. I missed you all so very much over the weekend. That's a fact. One moment, guys. Let me pull this up for you guys to watch while we're waiting on Mama Bear. I could almost guarantee that the gag order is going to stand, Paula. I almost think so. Check my text messages. I can do that, Miss Diane. Let me see here. All right. Here we go. Boom. Where is my sound? Welcome, Amy D. Good to see you.
2022, Idaho County, State of Idaho, willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation and with malice aforethought, kill and murder Zaina Kernodle. Excuse me. This is hard. I'm sorry. Zaina Kernodle, a human being, by stabbing Zaina Kernodle, from which she died. Count 5, murder in the first degree. This is a felony under Idaho Code Section 18-4001, 4002, 4003, and 4004. This alleges that you, on or about November 13, 2022, in Latah County, State of Idaho, did willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation, and with malice aforethought, kill and murder Ethan Chapin, a human being, by stabbing Ethan Chapin, from which he died. This was signed on May 16, 2023 by the presiding grand juror. So now I'm going to go to the maximum penalties.
I don't know if you guys all know this, but standing silent, meaning that means he's not pleading innocent nor guilty. He's not saying anything at this point. I think that is their way of bucking the secret indictment.
Restitution for the victim's economic losses resulting from the crime. For counts 2, 3, 4, and 5, murder in the first degree, maximum penalties, life in prison, or the death penalty. Fine of up to $50,000, or both fine and life in prison or the death penalty. Restitution for the victim's economic losses resulting from the crime. Also, additional fine of up to $5,000 to be paid directly to the victim's families. If you are found guilty or plead guilty on each charge, and the maximum sentences are imposed consecutively, that means one right after the other, you could be facing.
Yeah, it looks like he's lost some weight. He's a little white too.
Consecutive life sentences or death penalties, fines of up to $200,000 and $20,000 to be paid directly to.
Yes, he does. That's a fact, Diane.
Restitution resulting from the crimes. Okay. Mr. Koberger, do you understand the charge in count 1?
Yes.
Do you understand the maximum penalty?
Yes.
Do you understand the charge in count 2, murder in the first degree?
Yes.
Do you understand the maximum penalty?
Yes.
Do you understand the charge in count 3, murder in the first degree?
Yes.
Do you understand the maximum penalty?
Yes.
Do you understand the charge in count 4, murder in the first degree?
Yes.
Do you understand the maximum penalty?
Yes.
Do you understand the charge in count 5, murder in the
Yes.
first degree? Do you understand the maximum penalty?
Yes.
Okay, Ms. Taylor, is Mr. Koberger prepared to plead to these charges?
Your Honor, we will be standing silent.
Okay, because Mr. Koberger is standing silent, I'm going to enter not guilty pleas on each charge, counts 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, at this juncture, the state has 60 days to give notice of intention to seek the death penalty. And Mr. Koberger has a constitutional and statutory right to a speedy trial. So let's start with you, Ms. Taylor, and then Mr. Thompson to discuss some scheduling.
Your Honor, we'd ask the court to set this trial at the very outside of the speedy trial, right? We're not prepared to do anything but ask the court to do that today.
Okay. Have we counted out when that will be? November?
I have not counted it out, Your Honor, but I believe that we'll be about November 22nd is when this will run. Maybe November 20th. So I'd ask the court to set it for an
Welcome, Quato. Good to have you. Thanks for joining us today. Come on in, get comfortable, guys. Plenty to talk about.
My best guess is it would take at least 4 weeks, maybe 6.
I agree, Diane. It definitely
For a
has.
6-week trial.
At this point, I would, Your Honor.
And in order to do so, I will have to get rid of some of the other 3 trials I have, but this is more critical and more important. So, Mr. Thompson, what's your?
Those trial dates are workable to the state judge.
Thank you.
October 2nd. That's a lot earlier than I thought, guys. It really is. We'll see if that happens. Thank you, Heather. Make sure you're sharing this out, guys, please, if you would. And don't forget to hit that like button, folks.
About October 2nd, starting at 8:30 in the morning.
Yes, sir.
That work? Okay, for 6 weeks.
Yes, sir.
Anything else we need to address today, Ms. Taylor?
Not with regard to the trial setting.
Anything else?
No.
Thank you. Mr. Thompson?
Nothing to say at this time, no.
All right. So with that, by the way, I do want to let everybody know, if they don't already know this, that once the grand jury issued the indictment, preliminary hearing scheduled to start on June 26th was no longer needed and is vacated. So it's going to be confused about that. So I thank counsel. And-
Welcome, Miss Michelle. Good to have you here. Good to see you.
Look for your attention at this time. So,
I'm really surprised that they're not contesting the indictment.
Brian Koberger electing to stand silent, and the judge entering a plea of not guilty on the 5 charges, 4 for first-degree murder, an additional charge for burglary as well. JB Buno, WFLA senior investigator Walt Buteau here with you live in the WFLA Now Stream Center. We're really going to hope on action, folks. Your comments. We use hashtag system here in the Stream Center. So if you use hashtag HeyWalt, hashtag HeyJB, I think Jennifer Coffindaffer might still be hanging around, invited to pop back on whenever she'd like. I see her in the corner of my screen as well. But either any of the hashtags on your screen, and we can bring up your questions, your comments. Well, I want to give you the opportunity to react here first. I have a couple of things to point out as well. But let's start with you.
Well, I'll tell you, I don't know if confidence is the right word, but he definitely answered the judge's questions. And you don't always hear that, believe it or not. You don't always hear that from defendants. There's sometimes at least a hint of shame might not be the right word, but in his case, he answered every question very directly, full voiced, spoke up, except when it came to the plea, when he remained silent, and we knew he had remained silent for the plea, and that the judge had to enter the not guilty plea for him. So it sort of, I guess, maybe surprised me that he was sort of so forthcoming and spoke up so much when he was asked those other questions. What did you think?
The word that I'm going to use is very
Welcome, Eddie.
present.
Yes.
Alert.
Yeah.
And
like he was asking like he was being asked questions about, what'd you do last night? Or, he was being asked.
But he made clear he was enunciating his responses.
Yeah.
And I was thinking back during over the course of us watching this, I was thinking, my goodness, he is very coherent. And I think back to some of the trials, and our audience members on WFLA Now in our comment section know what I'm talking about when we're talking about some cases like Darrell Brooks, which was all over the place, just straight chaos at every turn.
Unbelievable, really.
Talking, of course, about Alex Murdaugh, where it was, there was points where he was, just crying. He was just covered in tears as far as emotion. I think back to Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, where there was smirks and twitches. And I know that we're really early on in this process, but this was as straightforward, direct, coherent, and concise of responses as you'll hear from a defendant.
I saw one of the first January 6th Bay Area defendants, one of the first Bay Area defendants from January 6th during a federal hearing where cameras aren't allowed in it. As the judge was reading the charges against him, literally,
it was pretty hard to hear a lot.
Put his
especially
head
when Brian was
on the
talking.
table, just went thump. Like
Hang out, guys. We got a lot to go over today.
No, he just was
We're
sort
gonna
of like,
pick up where we left
I mean,
off
if I was
Friday.
interpreting it, it was sort of what
Kind of
did I
letting
do?
this stuff
And
roll
that, of
through
course, was
here
much
as I
not
wait for others
nearly
to
as
jump
serious
in.
as this. But yeah, this guy was definitely very straightforward.
Thank you guys
like
for
you said,
joining us
very
today. I
present.
appreciate you guys.
And the only reason maybe
Definitely
we're surprised by
appreciate you
that
guys.
is because we knew ahead of time he did not enter a plea. And I think Jennifer makes a good point. Was that about control? I'm controlling this. You're not controlling this. I'll answer your questions, but you're not controlling whether I what I say for my plea. But at the end of the day, the judge controlled it.
And are you
Welcome, Sudi.
Did you observe arrogance? Is that what you're saying? Did you see?
I would say more confidence than arrogance.
Okay,
And there's a
okay.
difference.
Yeah.
Just more of again, I sort of expected soft spoken, maybe as opposed.
No, he enunciated very clearly his responses.
Yes.
And it almost reminded me of some of the traffic stop videos that we had seen where he was he appeared to be just making sure that he was very clear in what he was saying. And there's going to be this is a replay, by the way. This is actually the satellite coordinates for the feed itself, but they are playing it back a second time for news stations that missed it the first time. This is just
And his attorney sort of smiled at the court when she came in. He looks about the same, doesn't he, to you? Does he look the same that he did?
say that again. I'm sorry.
Does he look the same that he did? He does to me.
Oh, yeah, Koberger.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he looks very, very similar. Here he is rising for Judge John Judge. Our comment section was lighting up.
He looks like
about
he's lost a few pounds,
Judge,
in my
Judge,
opinion, but
and
that's just
people
me.
that have watched me before know that the very last thing I ever do is ignore people in the comment section and their observations. And as far as the pronunciation of the names, our comment section was lighting up about the but you know, I wrote down one note. I mean, Brian Enton did such a great job on Twitter as far as documenting what transpired. that it was
Welcome,
very easy
Sarah.
for
Come
us
on
to follow
in. Get
along.
comfortable,
But
all you
I
guys.
did
Find a
document
place
one
to
thing
sit.
here in my notes,
Get comfortable,
and
relax.
Judge stopped at one
Plenty
point
to talk about.
and said, "Sorry, this is hard." Did you catch that?
Yeah,
He stopped
Yeah.
as he was reading the names
Yeah.
of the victims, and he just
it
said,
is hard.
"Sorry,
Absolutely,
this is hard."
because they're not just names. They are people, and the way their life ended is just not supposed to happen.
Welcome, Reverend
And we don't-
Hughes.
I
Good to
don't
have
know.
you here. Thanks for joining us today.
I'm going to presume that he's
We're
a
going to get
father.
into that.
And I know in those
Miss-
cases
Miss
with us, I'm sure,
Hughes,
I know you're
about
not a
the
father
standing
yet, but
silent.
you think of your
Miss
kids.
Judy, welcome.
That's
Good to
what
see
you think
you.
about. You think of your
Paladin,
own
good
kids.
to have
People
you,
might
brother.
think, we don't put our
Amy D,
opinions in
again,
the
thanks for
story.
joining us.
But I'm sorry,
G,
a
JH, good to
story
have you here.
like this captivates people because we think of our own families, and I don't blame the judge.
BK is
for
proud
showing
and
that
stoic.
bit of emotion.
Stoic.
It was hard.
He
Oh,
knows
that
he
was
is
a
innocent
transition
and
there.
will
That was
fight
the wrong
these
transition,
baseless
but,
charges.
That
Very
is a
good
look
point,
at
Paladin. Very
Judge
good point.
John Judge. Oh, this is now
I
a
did
second
read in
camera
there,
angle that
Diane. I
we're
don't
getting.
see
So
anything
they're
in
feeding
particular.
back
Now we're seeing
multiple
the judge.
Text,
angles, and now we're seeing the judge. Because
Can you play the audio
I'm
on
looking
this?
here, let me
Maybe
see
I
something.
can.
Yeah.
Yes, bring this up.
Except there isn't.
Guys, if I didn't get
Maybe
back
you're
to
supposed
anybody
to
this
feed
weekend,
the
I had a
second
very
one without
busy
audio.
weekend
That's
with my
too
son's
bad.
birthday, so my
That's too bad.
apologies.
So then they're going to sync it up
Let me
later.
look
It would have
at
been
here,
nice to see
Diane.
the pause when he said, "This is
Let
hard."
me hold on. Let me try one more
I'm looking
feed.
now.
Let me make sure.
If there's
let me
an
just
echo, my
try some
apologies,
wizardry here
guys.
for a second and see if we can bring up any audio from. No. So they're feeding back the second camera angle without audio. So yes, that moment where Judge, and people will be able to sync this up later, but the moment where he said, "I'm sorry, this is hard." Let's not forget. And Jennifer, I know you're standing by. We'll bring you in here in just a second.
What's up, Red?
Yeah,
Good,
let's
thanks for
pop
joining
on
us,
screen
Cricket.
now.
Good to see you.
Let's not
Come on
forget
in, guys. Make sure
what
you're
he's
sharing it
looking
out.
in front of him. He's looking at the suspect.
Tracy,
alongside
welcome.
the
Good to have
defense
you
attorney,
here.
Ann Taylor. He's looking at prosecutors, and then behind him, and in a packed courtroom, and most of the
Thank you, Sudi. I
folks in
appreciate that here.
attendance are family members, and as the names are being read, there's no doubt going to be an outpouring of emotion. So Judge might have gotten caught up in the moment there. And look, I'm just going to say this: I know that there's a lot of chatter online and a lot of chatter in our comment section about the mispronunciation of a couple of the names there. This is his first time in the courtroom for this particular case. Let's not forget this has been elevated now to district court. So this is the first time he said, "I'm going to be the one presiding over the case."
I
This is the first
absolutely
time
agree,
he
quite
has
a bit, because it makes the
been
judge
demonstrated,
look like
in
he
the
may
courtroom,
have known
with Brian Koberger
somebody in
and
this
case. And also, too,
Thank you,
if he was
TJ.
getting emotional, if he was getting caught up in this, I wonder if people are going to be dissecting that element. I know that, I'm thinking of Peter Tragos, Emily Baker, some of the great lawyers online that dissect every little development, big, small, tiny, in a courtroom and try to make sense of it. But whether or not
I'm looking, Diane, and I don't
pausing
see anything
mispronouncing
from
the
you
names
directly,
tells us
my dear.
anything about where this goes from here. Jennifer, let's bring you in. What did you make of Brian Koberger's arraignment, having watched it for the first time?
Well, I think the interesting thing is to contrast it with the other time we saw him in court, where he says not guilty, and where he, enters his plea, and where before that, at least according to his attorney, he said he's going to prove his innocence.
That's very true, Kim.
I think for the word. So I just find it a bit of a contrast, this move he made not to say the word.
Yeah, standing silent, as Walt noted, was an
Thank you,
option
Heather.
for Brian Koberger, and he chose that particular option. I want to read people who are looking for the lawyer, Peter Tragos. He tried
Very
to get
good
on
point.
stream. He
Very,
said
very good
that
point,
he had
Paladin.
some mind-blowing technical difficulties. He offers his apologies, but I said, hey man, text me some notes and I'll read kind of what you have to say. And this is from Peter, the lawyer. He'll be live later. He says, October trial date indicates he's not waiving speedy trial at this point. Standing silent is effectively the same thing as entering a not guilty plea, but things can be read into that. And then 60 days to notify for the death penalty. And I expect Peter Tragos expects, again, this is his analysis, expects the state to go for the death penalty. And so that notice has to be served within 60 days, that is in fact their intent. And I just want to read, just say this one thing before we go into some of the comments here, as we look here at some of the secondary camera angles. Cool camera operator is zooming in on something here. I just really want to point out that if Judge was emotional in reading the names, people might read something into that, but people are human. They make mistakes. I've mispronounced names on live stream, and I feel terrible when I do it. I feel absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
And he might go back to his office now, his chambers, and get just mountains of hate mail saying, how dare you mispronounce some of these names? But people are human. Please remember that. Mistakes happen, and it's not meant.
Here's the
with
deal,
any
folks. I'm
disrespect.
guessing that
It likely,
I'm
in all
surprised there wasn't a
likelihood,
direct
it was just
contestment of the
human error,
indictment.
and
Okay,
that can happen. I know that
so I'm
might have
guessing
been.
that's
Look,
him
it's
standing
the
silent.
family members in the
Is
courtroom.
his way of
Maybe they'll be asked
contesting
as
that,
to
or
whether or
their way
not
of
that
contesting
was
that,
upsetting
amongst
to
some other
them.
things.
But mistakes
we are gonna
happen
see.
in courtrooms all the time, and so
definitely going to see.
Maybe he was
Yeah, I'm not a
emotionally
big
caught
fan
up
of Coffendoffer.
In the moment.
I'm not real
Mispronunciations
familiar
of
with
names
Walt,
happen
but
in courtrooms.
Coffendoffer is just
frequently.
not.
We will go into
I'm not a
a
big
hearing
fan at all.
and think we
I
have the
don't like the way she
pronunciation
is with
correct. A
things.
judge says it differently. A prosecutor says
Never
it
have
differently.
been.
Then we're forced to call whoever we can call and say which is the correct way. So yeah,
Exactly.
it does happen. I get how people would be upset about it, but
All
yeah,
right.
you're right.
I think this
Judges
must be
human.
Miss Diane.
We're
One
looking
moment,
in here on a
please.
zoomed in shot. No shaving cuts of note. No.
Hello.
Look, I'll let our audience, if there's any observations that people want to make as to
Hello.
Brian Kohberger's appearance, his demeanor, his mannerisms. This is now, we're officially opening up.
You don't
Starting
wanna be
now,
live?
hashtag KJB, hashtag Walt, hashtag Jennifer.
Okay, hold on.
We're just going to spend
one moment,
the
everyone.
next few minutes going through, really maybe even more than the next few minutes, going over as many of your social media comments as possible, because we want to interactively talk with you here, answer your questions about where this goes from here. What we want to do as well is garner your reaction. And let's not forget, folks, that that's probably started right around now. I think is it the gag order, Jennifer? The motion on the gag order is happening as we speak.
Yes, should be.
And let's see if Brian Enton is back in court. I'll just kind of refresh this really quickly. He has not indicated as such. He might have indicated as much on News Nation. Let's go to the comments. We're going to really focus in on YouTube Live. We'll bounce to TikTok and maybe Twitter as well. But let's go to, this is what I'm talking about, some of the micro observations. Caitlin says he was swallowing and clenching a lot. People
I have a tweet. Somebody tweeted at me, and I you noticed it too on the tight shot. By the way, this type of stuff, I don't know. It's a little bit too much for me sometimes, but because, but I get it. But on the tight shot, and you did notice his jaw popped a little bit, and this person wrote, "Will anyone?" No, she wrote, "I noticed he was clenching his jaw." I don't know what that means. Perhaps Jennifer knows what that means from a profiling point of view. I don't know what that means.
I mean, I don't think we can make too much of really any of it because we haven't watched him before. Maybe he uses his jaw a lot. So I don't think we can make too much of it. Of course, everybody's going to be dissecting his demeanor. I think you hit it on the head, Walt. He's certainly confident. And again, I 100% believe that was a control move.
Ageless beauty.
Jennifer, and on that point, when you say a control thing, what do you mean by that? I think I know what you mean, but what do you mean by the control, by not saying not guilty or guilty?
Not saying not guilty. There isn't anyone that's going to force him into stating anything at this point. Yes, he has to acknowledge yes, no, when he's asked a direct question, but he wasn't going to make those statements. He was going to let the judge make it for him.
Does that
And,
does that
that's super telling.
does that go with anything else? Do you think? Does that mean anything bigger than that as far as control of a because murder in many ways is about control. Is that something we would look at as well, or compare it to, or no?
That's how I see it. I see him
That's
being
what I thought.
controlling in every aspect that I've seen. When I've seen him on the videos, remember when he got pulled over at one of the car stops, his father tries to answer a question of the officer, and he puts his hand, and says, "Dad, you don't know." That was very telling to me. I mean, where he's even trying to manipulate his father and his responses, and that's supposed to be somebody who's in authority.
Right.
I also find it interesting, could this mean there is a plea in the future? That's the only other thing I could see, but really, it was the same outcome, and he knew it would be the same outcome, whether he said something or whether he didn't. In other words, whether he said not guilty or didn't.
Yeah, that's what Mandy is saying here is wondering, is there a power play behind not saying the words not guilty? I think is what that is meant to say. And so people are going to read into this, but semantics, if we just focus on semantics for a second, it's a not guilty plea one way or the other. Maybe he didn't want to say the words not guilty, or maybe he was advised by counsel to not say the words not guilty. Let's not forget that as well.
It reminds me of the no contest plea, because a no contest plea is you're still guilty. And the judge will tell you that after you plead nolo, you're still guilty. And I've always wondered, why do you plead nolo? I'm sure there's a legal way. I think it's been described to me before, but it's sort of like yeah, sure, I made a plea deal. I'm guilty, but you know what? I'm saying no contest instead. Well, you're still guilty, and you're still convicted. So I wonder if you're right. Maybe it is something his lawyer told him not to say.
Reese Baum says #KJB longer hair. That's it. And to tell you the truth, Reese Baum, I thought I was thinking the same thing. Maybe his hair is a little bit longer, and that's just him being a little bit longer between haircuts. We've seen inmates who have emerged after solitary confinement after a long period of time. We've seen people who have completely shaved heads or a dramatically different appearance or weight loss, and we've seen different physical transformations when it comes to inmates over a longer period of time behind bars. And Bryan Kohberger, for the most part, appearance-wise, relatively consistent to what we saw in January. So we were highlighting some of the observations as well. Somebody asked, and it was on screen for a moment, whether or not Bryan Kohberger's parents or family members were there. It did not appear that they were there. Let's go to Kimmy Warfield. Hashtags all around for all of us. Will this trial be live streamed, or will we have to wait like we did today? I want to bring this up really quickly. I know there's more important questions, but I know that this one people want to know the answer to. And if Idaho court policy remains the same, and we know that the gag order hearing is taking place right now as we look here at a closer shot of Judge John Judge. He might be now reading the names, by the way. Or no, he's not speaking at all at the moment. He's looking at his calendar, I think. #KJB, Jennifer Wall, will the trial be live streamed, or will we have to wait like we did today? The answer to this is based on Idaho court policy. You can't live stream out of the courtroom. And people were like, oh, so you mean today was the 30-minute delay and we'll be able to watch it on a 30-minute delay in October? No, that's not how this works. Based on our understanding of Idaho court policy, that particular hearing, or each individual court event, if you will, cannot be distributed until that hearing has concluded. So if I'm reading into this correctly, that would mean that either the entire day's events can be streamed and distributed after 5 o'clock, after they adjourn for the day, or maybe, and us in the media, we have to do our part in asking these questions. Right. But will the judge allow us on lunch break to transmit the first half of the day, and then after the court is adjourned for the day, then transmit the second half of the day.
There are courts that will not allow you to take things.
All
quote, unquote,
right,
out of
everybody. My
context.
apologies. My
And if that's the
apologies. That was
case,
a
they may
subscriber
very
that
well
had just a
want
couple worries.
it
We were
all to be
talking a little bit.
distributed
No
at
big
once,
deal.
as opposed to bits and
And again,
pieces
guys, thank you
getting
guys all
out.
for being here. Everybody that's just jumped in
I've
recently,
definitely
thank you for
experienced
joining us.
that in other jurisdictions. And maybe the
As
law
we
will
are
change. Maybe there'll be a
watching the
demand in Idaho. They did
arraignment
just change,
here.
I don't know, ironically.
We
or
should be
they
getting
just-
some
they just
info
changed- they
on
just
the
authorized
secondary
the
hearing
firing
that they
squad
had here relatively
in,
soon. Mama
in
Bear will be
Idaho.
here
Reason being is
about
because
another
there have
half
been
hour or
holdups in
so.
several states regarding the
Other than that, guys,
the
again, thank you
chemicals
so
or
much
means
for being here. We
necessary
got
to
98
do
people in here,
lethal
guys.
injection,
Keep hitting that
but
like
there has
button for
been
me if
some,
you would, so we can get out into
difficulties in
the
obtaining the means to
algorithm
carry
and
out
do it
lethal
right.
injection.
I
So,
appreciate you
giving,
guys. Detective Amanda
the state
Meow,
the
good
other
to see
option
you.
of the
Thanks for
firing
joining
squad.
us.
Yeah,
Let me catch everybody up in here real
that's
quick. Mojo's here
reality
just
right
here
now
for
in
the
Idaho.
tea. So am
Really
I.
quickly,
Thanks for joining me today, Michigan. Great to see you.
hashtags, for
Firefly,
myself
welcome.
and Jennifer,
American
I'm gonna go to
Princess,
you
welcome
because this one
back.
has a
Good to
hashtag
have
for
you here.
Might standing silent indicate
That's a
willingness
good point,
to
Paladin. I like the way you
accept
put
a
that. In the
plea?
absence of information, people will
Well,
read
that's
too
what
much
I
into
was,
the nothings. That is a
alluding
very
to
good point,
earlier.
my friend.
I think it is
Very good
a
point.
control deal.
And that is something we
unless,
try not to do. Red,
this
if I didn't
is
say,
related to
see you,
that.
brother. Welcome. Good to have you.
It's a possibility. I think if
Da-da-da-da.
the state
Come on in,
knew,
everybody. Make sure you're
to
sharing it
make
out,
the
folks.
court,
Jump on in.
to put the death penalty
Plenty to talk
on the
about.
table,
Again,
which I
guys, what
think
we're going to
they
do,
will.
guys, is we're going to follow up.
I think it's a whole
We
different
got 102
conversation,
people in
and
here. We
he
should have
did
100
do
likes
that
coming,
as
guys. If
well.
we get to that
Got this
algorithm,
question
we're good to
from
go.
Nicole. Very
And
interesting.
again, thank you all so much for being here.
JB,
I
I think
appreciate
he
you
wanted
guys
to hear
so very
someone
much.
else say that he is not.
We're going to follow
guilty.
up and finish up with the open discussion, open panel that we
there was
had
a
Friday.
calculated
We're
decision
going to talk
behind
more
standing
about this
silent
scenario
and
here. We're
why
going to get
someone
into
might,
the standing
again,
silent
LawTube,
scenario.
I know that
Okay.
some of the great names on LawTube
And
are
show
going to be
why that tactic
analyzing
could
this
and
for
is
hours or
used.
days.
Welcome, Strike. Good to see you, little brother. Great to have you here.
To not say the words
What are you talking
not
about?
guilty,
Tea? We all got
and
lots of tea to spill.
perhaps
Ain't that right?
wanting to hear someone else,
Miss
whether
Diane
it's your
Draper's
legal
in the house.
representation,
Good
your
to see you,
attorney saying
darling.
it,
Thanks
or
for
the
joining
judge,
us.
who's the most authoritative figure in the room, saying the words not guilty.
Make sure I didn't miss
Is there a
anybody in
mental
here.
sort of
Great to have you guys. Anybody that's in
Interesting
here
thought.
watching, not
And
in
talk
chat,
about
thank you so
control.
much for joining us
I mean,
today.
you're making the judge.
You guys are so very much
you're not
appreciated as well.
folks, we're going to be following along here too.
Good
I'm
point, Miss
trying
Amy
to get
D.
an
You
update
plead NOLO in case you go to civil court. Very good point.
about. Oh, I want to read this. This is
Chemistry
interesting
Queen.
from
Thanks for joining us. It's great to see you here. I see some newer
Brian Ensign.
names.
Can't stop thinking about Olivia's baby.
Guys,
in
thank
court,
you so much
the
for those of you
message
that are
it's
newer.
sent.
If you
It's just a
guys
very
have recently
honest. That's why I like
subscribed, I
working with
appreciate that.
Brian,
If not,
Brian's
please
not
do
sh-
subscribe.
gonna-
Share this
gonna
out.
share his
Leave me a little
observations in
DNA on
addition
that
to
like
stating
button, folks.
the
I'd
fact of record.
like to have you guys
But
back
a
in here.
statement from Kaylee Gonzalez.
And if you can, at the end of the show, please leave any comment you feel that you should in the comment section. I appreciate that.
The
It's so
family
good to see
would
you,
like to
Miss
thank
Robin.
everyone
Thanks for joining us
continuing to
today.
follow this case and keep the memories of Kaylee, Maddie, Santa, and Ethan alive. They are what is important, not the
I
defendant.
think I got everybody.
We're
Sarah,
thankful
I
that the
did
Lake
see
South County
you.
District
Welcome. Good to
Attorney's
have
Office
you.
Finally took the case to a
All you
grand jury
guys. I'm so grateful to
came
see you
back
guys here.
with
Like I
an
said,
indictment.
Mama Bear will be
At the
joining
same
us
time,
roughly in
we're
about 30
disappointed
minutes.
that the judicial
She had an
process
appointment she had
has
to
not
handle.
been more efficient
And she
in
will be
addressing
here
the gag
too.
order.
She
This
wouldn't
is
miss
just
it for the
beginning
world,
of a
she
long
said.
journey for all the families, and we are thankful for your continued support and coverage.
Yep, that's
The
what he did
Gonzalez
last time. He
family,
saw her too,
Jennifer,
Michigan. Give her a little
without question,
smile.
has been the most vocal.
They don't
throughout
meet that
this
often, so.
process. And you can see there using the word disappointed.
A very good
to
point,
state,
GJH.
that
Or
things
G.
have
I'm
been,
just going to call you G.
in their words, inefficient as far
Carolyn
as
Miller,
the-
good to see
as
you.
far as
Welcome,
the
welcome.
gag
Great
order.
to
What
have
do
you
make of
here.
The Gonzalez's family.
CL,
issuing a
great to see
statement?
you too.
Really,
Thanks
I mean,
for
the
joining us.
immediacy after the arraignment concluded.
CL says, guilty or not guilty?
Well,
The
I think the
I'm innocent option
Gonzalez
is your
family
constitutional
is
right to stay silent.
grieving like
Facts.
all the families.
When
and
you
they
say
are
guilty or
grieving
not
in their
guilty,
own
you are
way.
consenting.
I've thought a
You
lot
participated
about
in
chicken
said crimes
caucuses.
charged against you. That's a
None
very
of us,
good point,
unless
CL.
we've been
Thank
in
you
their
for that.
shoes, know how we would act.
And again, we're going to jump into
And,
that here, guys.
you
I'm
know,
trying to wait for a
I
few
see-
more
I
people to
have a
jump
lot
in
of
here. This
sympathy
once this gets
for this
out,
family.
there were people that were
Their
watching other
daughter,
scenarios. laws,
Kaylee
so on and so forth. I was
tried
kind
to
of waiting a little bit
record
for
with
Mama
me.
Bear as well, but
Because I
that's
have a
okay. If
daughter
we need
who
to, we can
much
get things
like
moving,
her,
you know,
and,
without. She will
I
jump
can
in when
really
she gets
relate
here.
to the anger and frustration.
How can you plead innocent
that
but still
they've
admit you
likely felt through this
Yeah,
process.
sorry, Paula.
And I know
Let me
they
try that
want to
again.
speak.
How
Well,
can you
but
plead innocent but still admit
from
you
my view,
participated?
as
That's a good
former
question.
agent, I think this
Thank you,
really
Ms. Heather.
helps the
Appreciate
case from
you.
the prosecution standpoint.
Guys, if you
as
do
well.
want to contact
I think
me,
it's fair
we
for the
have my
defendant,
email
and I
there,
really do think this is the best
mayora74
answer,
at
but it's the hardest
gmail.com. My
answer
phone number
for the
here, guys, is
defendant.
234-703-4047.
For any
That you can
updates
text or
whatsoever,
call
folks,
as
on
well.
the gag order.
Also,
And
you can reach
looking
me
here
through
if,
DMs via my
if
Twitter.
any of those motions
the
now, because
Dago,
the
at the
time
Dago
is now
74.
1:18 Eastern. That makes it 10 a.m.
Bama's in the
Pacific
house. What's
time,
up,
and
Bama
that would put us,
Askins? Thanks for joining
at
us.
the second of the two hearings.
Well,
especially
that
to our
hearing
YouTube
is going
moderators,
on.
our great YouTube moderators, who help me out
Yeah,
a lot.
as we speak, it
Anybody
started at
sees any
10, which
updates,
again, it's
regarding
in
the gag
silent.
order, I believe.
Okay, we're not
and
going to see
Jennifer,
it till after the fact.
I
Amy
do have that
Conway's
right.
in the
Right, the
house.
gag order was second,
Buenas
and the motion
tardes.
to compel for evidence was third. Correct?
I love it. Buenos
That's
dias
right,
to you,
but
my dear.
this-
Thanks for
this
joining
could
us.
take a while, and
Good to have
also
you here.
the judge could decide
Happy Monday to you,
issue
my
an
dear.
opinion later.
I
I've seen that many
sent you
times,
along.
so
Yes,
we'll
yes,
see if
I
he
saw that,
does
Carolyn,
an
and I
opinion right
appreciate
on the
that so very
spot,
much.
or whether he decides
I
to
did have a
give
busy weekend,
written
folks. My son's birthday
opinion
party
at
was
a later
Saturday, and
time.
then yesterday was just a
But
family
I
day
think
thing,
he's
so
going to
that's why I
uphold it.
haven't spoken with anyone.
Let's
My apologies. My wife wanted me to
let's
kind of
go
take a
back
day
to
just
folks.
for
I
the
want to
family.
really
That's what
go,
we did
kind of
yesterday,
go
and then
as
Saturday,
rapid
of course,
fire
we're
as I
busy.
can through some of these.
But I'm back at it,
some
100%,
of these
folks.
comments.
Here I am.
Yeah. So Queen is saying
Great to be
Queen
here,
of the Amazon
and it's
finds.
great
Look
to
at
have
that.
you all
That's
here.
a great username.
Like I said,
you know?
share this
We all
out.
need to find
Leave that DNA on the like
treasures
button
on
for
Amazon.
me.
Hashtag
Share
KJV,
this
what
out
about
to
the
everybody and
gag order?
anybody you
Any
think would
chance that
want
gets
to be in
lifted
here.
soon?
And then at the end of the show, please
Experts
leave me some
like
comments.
Jennifer
I'd
and
appreciate that
others
so very much.
repeated that they think it is more likely that the gag order stays in
Absolutely, Miss
effect.
Carolyn.
And
Eva
the
Bell.
challenge
I love
at
that
the
name.
lower
I
level
just read.
court will,
Let's see here.
will
Welcome,
be
first of all.
unsuccessful.
I
But
just read.
what will the Idaho Supreme Court say
sorry, I can't remember her whole name.
upon them
She
actually
said,
properly
staying
receiving
silent
that
forces
challenge
the
from the
court
media
to stay
coalition
not guilty.
behind
What that does is
you know,
it
those
gives
who
the
are against
if
the
you're
gag
not
order,
blatantly
that's gonna be
saying
really interesting.
guilty,
And
okay,
so we'll be following
and you
that
stand silent, the
closely
judge
because
then,
that
as he said, will
does
automatically put in a not
change the
guilty
dynamic of
plea.
the case as far as
Okay,
public consumption.
that plea,
And,
because he
and I wanna
cannot
know
by right,
exactly
because he didn't
where
say it,
that
say
goes.
guilty.
I
So
think you know where Walt and
that's
I
why he puts
stand
that
on.
plea
I'm
in.
sure
Miss
Jennifer
Trophy
is the
Wife's in
same.
the house. I love you
Jennifer,
just
I know
as much,
you
my
were,
dear. Thanks for joining
you
us.
were, you know, working for the FBI, and now you're here on the media side of things. But
Ready,
we are
set,
all for
Fupa. What's up,
transparency. We want it
Fupa?
all to come out there. And,
What
The
happened?
gag order, of course, is
Miss Fupa
makes
missed
it difficult for us in the media.
Well,
Do you have
they
anything
went
really
in.
quickly on the
Mr.
gag order
Koberger,
being a retired
instead of
FBI
bringing a
agent
plea,
and now
he
somebody
stood
who appears
silent.
on national television?
The judge in turn
Just
put
really
in
quickly,
a not guilty
I
plea
want them
for
to keep
him.
it
They
in
set
place. I
the
think it
court
helps
date for
both parties. I think it
October
makes it fair to
2nd,
the defense and fair to the
which is very
prosecution.
surprising.
I don't want, I think
The
it's best not to
attorney
have
did
the
not
jury
say
pool even
anything
more
about
tainted,
contesting
and
the
so I think
indictment, which
it's the best
surprised
call.
me. I'm very surprised.
So I guess I'm still
And
leaning
I'm
on
really
FBI.
surprised about this
Yeah,
court
yeah,
date,
you-
guys. I really expected
Yeah,
it to
the
be
FBI
set
loyal
out
there.
a
The
year,
FBI
maybe
doesn't even
almost
need
2
gag
years
orders.
out.
They just
but
are gagged.
I know
we
they
can
wanna
either
get through
confirm or
this,
deny,
okay?
correct? It's
I know they want to get through this.
I remember, I have
So
never
I'm guessing
spoken
that's
ever.
the basis of
And in
that,
fact, there
okay?
was an award you got.
There
it
she
was called
is.
The Red Shoe Award for putting your
There she
foot
is.
in
Miss
your
Jules
mouth.
in the
If you
house.
ever
Jules,
spoke to
if
the
you
media,
are able
you
to,
would
I would
be,
love to have you up here
in
as the
trouble,
first
with
contestant
the higher ups,
on
with
the
your
panel,
boss,
if you
and
wouldn't
so on and so
mind.
forth.
I've
So-
always thought, though, in the hands
I
of an
can't believe
unethical
he
reporter, I
misstated.
could call the
He
FBI about
misspoke
anything. I could
Xana's
call
name
the
as well.
FBI about JB
But I absolutely
and
agree.
say, hey, is it
I'm not
true that
comfortable with
JB
this, Judge,
did this,
right out of
this,
the
and
gate.
this? And
I'll
if you get the
promise
wrong
you that.
agent and
I
they
can
say we
tell
can
you
either
right now.
confirm or deny, I now can imply that the
If you
FBI
are available,
But
I
Jules,
would say
the link
this,
is in
and
the chat.
unlike
You are
perhaps my
welcome
friends, my
to
journalism
jump up here
friends,
with me. Mama
I
Bear's not
get
here yet. You're
why
getting
a
update done
gag
really
order
quick,
is
and I will be
needed
okay.
in many
Good deal.
cases. I may
No worries,
object to
dear.
it because
No
I
worries.
want
Take your
information
time.
for
I'm not
viewers,
going anywhere for a
but I
while. We
get
will
that
be here for a
a
while
case
today,
like
folks.
this, with as much media
Like I said, I
that
want
would
to
be
continue the
and
open
unprofessional
panel,
This
open
isn't any case.
discussion that
Well,
we had,
any-
especially
no,
as
this
of
is any
today
case. This,
Hold on
okay,
a
but this
minute.
is for
Any
and
high
just to kind of
profile
work through
case.
today.
We
folks,
cover
is what
high
I want
profile
to do.
cases on here. The son of
mistakes,
Gagaway.
but you know what?
And allow
Mistakes,
time for everybody that wants to be in
interpretations
here
of
to be
information
in
is
here.
made,
So
and you can mess up a case, and you could be
that's
the reason
exactly it, CL. This
somebody
is why
wins
everyone
on
has the
appeal.
right to
I don't
stay
think I would
silent
be.
and
I've always
understand your freedoms. Very good
respected
point. Thank you.
I have a lot of friends who are attorneys.
I've
had
never seen
discussions
that
with them
period.
about
Quad. I mean, you
things
got to
about-
know that
I've
this
had
judge has been
information
paying
that
attention to this case.
even
Don't
though
tell
I
me
have it, I
he
won't
hasn't.
report. And then I
To
watch the
mispronounce the
competition
names? Come on.
report it,
This
and
is
I'm
crazy.
like, I can't go on. I'd like to go on TV. We didn't report that because of this. We don't do that. But there are people who will report everything, and you can't.
I find it interesting how different states, different jurisdictions, judicial jurisdictions, and different judges will all have different interpretations on how to protect the process.
Yeah.
And they all have different ways.
Yes.
And so Idaho has a gag order.
No worries, Jules.
right?
Take your time,
and
dear.
They're and that's done in good faith to protect the process, right? At least that would be their argument. Some cases do not, some states, some jurisdictions do not allow any cameras in the courtroom, and it's minimal access.
All right, I'm going to bring down the volume on that thing there. He appeared flushed, but chewing gum or not chewing, had it in his mouth so he would scream out all the information. That's right. That is right. You know, it's funny you said that, Eva. He never has. He's always had a very calm and on point look to him, you know. He does look thinner. I mean, I don't know, guys, if you've ever been in jail or ever eaten jail food, it's not the greatest thing. Yep. That's very, very good, Jules. As she said, his body language changed when the judge said Maddie's names. He shifted in his chair. That's very true. Very true. Thank you, Heather. I appreciate that. Yeah, and for those of you that didn't see it, the judge was stating certain things and said, "I'm sorry, this is hard," as he was stating their names, you know? And if you're not there's certain people that would take that and go, why did he get all choked up saying the victims' names? Does he know them? That's a conflict of interest if that's the case. And there's going to be a lot of people, that one comment, there's going to be people all over YouTube. They're going to tear that apart, folks. You know that. You absolutely know that. When he said Kayla instead, he had no reaction. But when Kernoodle was being misspoken, he almost looked like he was moving his lips to correct her last name. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much, Miss Diane. I appreciate that. And so does Mr. Caden. He is now 17. You had a great weekend, folks. So thank you for that. Miss Tia, welcome. Good to see you. To answer that he was chewing gum, they are not allowed to chew gum, expressly in a courtroom. That's true too. I don't know what he was doing. Who knows what he was doing? It's a very sensitive subject. That's correct, Carolyn. Thank you, Jules. He did. He had an absolute awesome weekend. He got to go fishing yesterday. He got some new fishing stuff for his birthday. The family was here Saturday. My mom and dad and everybody. He had a great weekend. That's what I was thinking right there. It was like he was clenching his jaw and like grinding his teeth maybe a little bit. That's what I took it as. I could be wrong. Miss Molly says it could also just be that the judge had kids his age. Very possible. Very possible. That is why he paused and said, "I'm sorry, this is hard." And I can see that. I absolutely can see that. And here's the thing, guys. Whether you have kids, no kids, grandkids, ever had kids, whatever, these are still kids that are gone. That's hard for anybody to talk about. It really is. You know, if this wasn't something we talked about on a daily basis in the very beginning, you guys know how this goes. It was rough for us all to talk about in the very beginning. It's rough for anybody. It's the first time he's touched on this. GJH or G, I'm just going to call you G, says he's a teacher. Brian was clenching his jaw. I have TMJ. I do it. That's what I thought too. That's what it looked like to me, that he was kind of clenching his jaw and possibly grinding his back teeth. I mean, it's stressful on anybody, you know. A lot of anxiety. I clench my jaw because of my anxiety. It's just part of it. Yeah, Brian Enton was on point with the Twitter guys, like step by step by step by step. I was getting Twitter messages one after another. Miss Heather was sending them to me right behind there as well. So thank you for that, by the way, Heather. And welcome, Lugaroo. Good to have you here. Koberger back in courtroom for gag order. Is there a new one back up now? Wait a minute.
jury pool.
Isn't the more access the media has to the process and the more interviews that take place and the more prodding that exists, is there a thought behind there's more of a chance for some sort of mishap to occur that jeopardizes the legal process, and that's behind also Brian Koberger's analysis of the gag order, Jennifer?
Well, anytime you put witnesses up where they can be interviewed by the media, there is such a huge issue with them giving a statement, and then they would have given a statement previously to law enforcement, and then they gave a statement.
Well, then they should be jumping right back to it right here, because I haven't gone off of this.
From a prosecution standpoint, it's horrible because you know how it is in the media. I mean, you make one miscue with a word, and
Let me
you know,
see
a
then.
big deal. Can you imagine in court if
One
they
moment,
just
folks. Let me
misstated
back this up.
something?
Hashtag KJB. I, as a lawyer, would also appear. So understandable he does that. Wants to be involved in his own defense.
So they're just going to continue going live with JB while Brian tweets everything, and we will get it firsthand from JB that Brian tweets to him.
Well, we don't know anything about him. We don't know enough about him. Maybe he likes to be alone, but you make a great point. It's the option.
I don't either,
Going
Carolyn.
back
I'm not
to
a
my
fan of
solitary
copping off.
confinement, or at least being in a room with people. where
Same
I'm
here,
the center
Kim.
of attention, and maybe if we're interpreting his personality,
Amen to that
correctly, he
one,
wants to be the
Lance.
center of
Just some different oxygen. Being
Right.
in a different
jails
room.
smell. I can tell you, jails smell. There's the one thing about jails that you can't. I mean, they smell, and I'm not
And I
saying
don't mean to laugh.
it-
It's just because if you've ever been to a correctional facility, they're all they're all unique, but I know what you're getting.
there's an odor, and it's bad food and humanity. I hate to say it, but
It's not fun.
It's not, and they're dark and they're dim, and I've always thought solitary confinement would be better than medium security when you're in a room with a bunch of
people
other,
that you
people
don't necessarily
that
know or
you
trust.
don't necessarily know or
Why
trust.
would
But yeah,
he would
why would he? I
definitely-
mean, he
if
would
you have a choice
definitely.
between
If you
going
have a
back to
choice
solitary,
between going back to
All
solitary,
right.
or
Let me
sitting
see
in a
something
courtroom
here.
that is clean and
Just different. How about
different.
a different
That's
change
right.
of scenery?
That's right.
Let's go to Nadia says, hashtags all around, why did the charge say kill and murder? Is there a legal difference? That's just terminology per the state, right? I mean,
Well,
is-
murder is a charge.
Jennifer?
Kill, but yeah, I don't know. I think I've heard that before. There's no
I
charge.
think that's going to be their boilerplate
Yeah, that's
for
probably what they
these
said.
particular charges.
Okay, let's go to some more comments and questions that are coming in, and let's continue to follow Brian Enton on Twitter and make sure that we're not missing anything.
I did have one comment while you're looking at those. I just think both sides, no matter what the audience, what everybody is thinking right now, there's nothing more important than the judicial process being followed appropriately, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Because no one wants this case to not see justice or to be overturned on appeal, no matter who wins. It's just we want the process to be fair. If the fight isn't fair, if the process isn't fair, it's not a good thing.
All right, bro. Yeah, and Brian is saying I'm on.
That's right.
Yeah,
Just so you guys
doubt
see,
all about protecting the process.
I'm getting his
I
tweets
mean, that's really
just like
what it
anybody
comes
else
down
that
to.
is with him as he's
And
putting
making
them
sure
out.
that
That Brian
a
is
case
back in the
like this,
courtroom.
with
That
as
was
much
9 minutes
media,
ago for the gag hearing.
skilled media, international media, who know how to cultivate sources.
And we'll be
There
able to
will be
watch that
leaks.
live
There
on
there
here.
already have been.
They, all
leaks.
right,
As soon as they
and there
end
will
that,
be
it'll
plenty
pop
of
back
leaks,
up on
and
here
because
while we're
it's
still
not just
live,
the
guys.
Idaho,
So,
the Idaho, Boise. I think they have one TV market
defense
in
wants
Idaho.
gag order on
I
media,
don't remember
not
what size it
ST
is,
lawyer.
but
I
it's
see
a sort of beginners TV
why
market,
how
if
much
I
media has
recall.
been legit,
What,
almost
Boise?
none.
Boise.
I agree,
yeah.
CL.
Good, great city.
I agree.
By the way,
Yeah.
I've heard. But my point is,
Very much
you're
agree
now
on
going to
that one.
have these journalists who
Again,
are,
guys, 109
the
people
Brian
in here.
Entons of the
Please
world
make sure
that
you're hitting that
are-
like
and
button.
others,
Get us up
who have
into
no
the
and producers.
right
We don't even know
algorithm.
who their names are. They know how international, and they know how to
How to-
push for leaks.
Yeah.
And so there will be leaks whether
Thank
you
you,
have
Paula.
a gag order or not. And those leaks
Unfortunately,
could
BK was
theoretically be
a
damaging,
bit
but they would
too
definitely
trusting, became an easy
provide
pass into
information
real
that I know
perp, still
people are
large.
looking
Good
forward to
point
hearing
there,
about this
Mr.
case.
Paladin.
I'll just say,
Thank you very much,
sources
Ms.
say
CC. I
as-
appreciate that. Guys,
So,
for those of you that don't know, this channel is
I mean,
100%
you and I
crowdfunded,
are
guys.
in
That
that
keeps me coming to
same-
you guys on
I've
a
always
daily
used
basis.
sources. I've
Takes care of
said
the bills
sources
and all
say,
that
but
to keep me running
as a last
everything here.
resort,
So anybody that is
I've known
interested
people who said
and or
a
was
source
feeling
tells
generous
me.
enough to
And
want
that
to
is
support the
like,
channel to
that is-
keep
what?
it coming,
Yeah, no,
Really?
please feel free
But
via
I
the
think
Cash
the
App,
source
PayPal,
should
or
be
the
used
Venmo,
as a tool
or how you
to
should
work on
choose. And I
people
do
like
appreciate that
Jennifer.
ahead of time from anyone.
Maybe not Jennifer
so very
because
much, guys.
it's the
I appreciate that
FBI,
more than you know.
but to let maybe somebody to get somebody on
Yeah,
the
that
record.
definitely
you
does
know,
show
but
body
that has-
language
that
does
has
not
long
show, or
gone
the body
away.
language
Jennifer, if
shows
I had
a
come to
zero-
you
very
20
low
years
confidence in
ago,
the
15
situation.
years ago, 10 years ago, and tried to talk you into being a source on a high profile case, your reaction
Yeah,
would
thank
be
you,
what? I'm
CC.
putting you on the spot.
Not in a million years. Not in a million years.
What
There
if
you
what if
go,
what,
Paladin.
Jennifer, what if we had a great conversation and we had our similar views
No
about
way.
the world
No
and
way, man.
and we had so much okay,
No way.
maybe you and I are
Well, I didn't want you guys to miss
friends,
anything, but yeah,
That-
you're right.
that
Sorry about that. I'm just trying to keep up with everything. I'll tell you what I'm going to do, guys. I'm going to keep the volume down on this, but I'm going to keep it playing live. That way, whenever it does cut to the next hearing on the gag, I will go ahead and go silent then and turn that back up because we're going to stay live with it the whole time, okay? I don't want you guys trying to listen to 5 different things, so my apologies, and that's how we'll do it. I'll just base it off of what Brian's Enton's tweets are going through and go from there. That's really probably only going to take a matter of a couple minutes anyway. I'm still very surprised that the hearing is in October, guys. I literally, I'll be honest with you, I didn't think any kind of a hearing would take place until probably July of next year. Not this coming July, but next July. Seriously, that's what I was looking for. Welcome, Alien. Good to have you. Good to have you. Yeah, I just didn't want you guys to miss anything on here, guys. So, but I'm going to do it this way. It'll be easier, and then I can just go back and forth with it for you guys. Yeah, that's very, Molly's right. And that's the thing, guys. It's come October. If they're not ready for it, if the fence isn't ready, they can put in for an extension. Yeah, and it will more than likely be granted. So there's a big possibility that, yes, we still may be out there. Tsunami's in the house. Good to have you. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. I was going for July, folks. We should have done a poll on it, literally, because I was thinking July at the very earliest of next year. And we're still not, don't forget, Tsunami, we may get extensions on this. Depends on what defense does and if prosecution pops any other surprises. It is very surprising, Alien. I agree. Welcome, Giovanna. Thanks for joining us today. Tara, good to have you here. Very, very good point, Eddie. Very good. I just didn't, like I said, I didn't want you guys to miss anything and be upset about it. So, but I like this better. Like I said, I'll just go based on Brian Enton's tweets, and then we will jump back into the audio when we need to. And once we get through that hearing, guys, and we get that one pulled out, then we're going to jump, it's out of the way, and we're going to jump back into what we were doing Friday. Welcome, Bobby, old dude. I love that name. Right. Well, they said he only had 60 days to throw the death penalty at him. So, they got to do something. Welcome, Kendra. Good to have you here. Oh, yeah, no, he didn't go to Africa, Jorm. That was just one of those rumors that got around a little too far. Welcome, L Wing. Good to see you. That's a good point. Very good point. Again, it's so great to have you guys all in here again today. Thank you so much for joining me. Appreciate you guys so very much. Right. Yeah, I have a feeling there's going to be a couple extensions possibly. I feel that too. There's a lot of confidence in her voice as to where prosecution, the way he's sitting there, he doesn't exhibit that to me. That's my opinion, folks. Just mine. Hell is not a Holiday Inn. It's stress being in there, not to mention jail is not a Holiday Inn. It's stress. Oh yeah, absolutely. And you know that they have to keep him away from everyone because there's probably anybody coming into that jail or anybody in there probably wants a piece of him. I'll be honest with you. Absolutely. Just here for the tea. Yeah, that was a rumor. He never went to Africa. Welcome, D. Smith. Good to have you. That was a rumor. He did go kind of into hiding. You know, he wanted out of the limelight because a lot of people were coming at him. So, and I don't blame him. You know, we're talking about Jack Showalter. He stepped out of the way for a while. Because there was a lot of harassment going around with a lot of people. So you got to understand. Yep, he is in there now. Has been, as let's see, Brian's last tweet says, where'd it go? 1 minute ago, Goncalves family attorney wants the gag order issues resolved quickly, asking the judge to address it this week. Koberger was back in the courtroom for a gag hearing, the gag order hearing 17 minutes ago. So that newest thing with the Goncalves family was the newest. Thank you so much, Tiffany. I'm so happy to have you here. I think the whole world wants the gag lifted, Giovanna, but I don't see it happening. I don't, because of the integrity of the case, they're not going to do it. And that's what the issue is going to be. And that's what they're going to say. Welcome, Larry. Good to have you here, brother. Please make sure you guys are hitting that like button on the way in the door, please. Sorry, guys. I drank something. I got some ice in my mouth. Sorry about that. Thank you so much, Miss Brandy. Oh, yeah, definitely, Amanda. We're going to talk about that, too. That's part of what we're going to talk about with the open discussion and panel today once we get through these hearings. For sure. I'm sure most of you guys watched the new Dateline. There were some interesting things in there. You know, we have to talk about this new thing that popped up. I'm kind of curious about that. My mother and I were actually talking about that in some detail. It's kind of interesting, this suspected burglary of this other girl's apartment and the webcam thing and all that kind of stuff, or the camera thing, I should say, that he installed. We're gonna look into that too a little bit here as we talk to other things. Yeah. I have a feeling that they would have to do that too, Kendra, but they haven't mentioned that yet, so we'll see. No, what's going on, Brian? What's going on? The judge says because the media coalition went to the Supreme Court, it has slowed the process down. That was 1 minute ago, Brian Enton tweeted. Again, before that, for those of you jumping in, 3 minutes ago, Brian tweeted, Goncalves family attorney wants the gag order issues resolved quickly, asking the judge to address it this week. His response was the judge, because the media coalition went to the Supreme Court, it has slowed the process down. And what that means, welcome, Charlotte Gross. Good to have you here. What that means is that the media coalition, which involves all of us, to be honest with you, we're all involved in that movement and that motion, okay? Social media as well as standard media, okay? They want the gag order lifted. They said that we have the rights to know what is going on with this, and that media has the right to be there and to report and broadcast this, okay? So they took that to the Supreme Court, folks. I don't know if you guys knew that. With that, they put forth a motion to remove the gag order so that all media is allowed to be involved in this case. And at that point, because of that, now they're waiting, which is going to upset the Goncalves family, sadly. Now they have to wait to see what the Supreme Court has to say on that. Good morning, Mystical. Good to have you here. Well, good afternoon. No Chains is in the house. What's up? Good to have you here. Come on in, guys. Grab a seat. Thank you, Heather. So that's what Brian's talking about with that stuff, folks. That happened over this past week here. I don't know if you guys had heard about that. Again, for those of you just jumping in, they're having the gag order hearing right now, okay? And nothing's live. Of course, we'll be able to broadcast it here or on this channel that we're watching right now when they're done. But we're getting tweets live from Brian Enton in the courtroom right now, and he says that the Goncalves family attorney wants the gag order issues resolved quickly, okay? And they're asking the judge to address it this week, guys. They want it dealt with this week, and that's coming from, Steve and Kristen and Olivia Goncalves. So Brian responds with, the judge says, because the media coalition went to the Supreme Court, it has slowed the process down. Again, for those of you that aren't familiar, the media coalition includes all of us, okay? Creators here on YouTube, as well as general media, local like WFLA, NBC, ABC, whatever affiliates are running this case. Everybody's involved in that. Social media accounts, all of it, guys. And because we've all kind of said, this isn't fair, we have the right to report and broadcast this story with this case. And that they have everybody gagged. Nobody's allowed to do anything like that. We're doing this, but we don't have any information to do this with, is what the problem is. And they want the media wants to be able to be in the courtroom and to record this stuff and to broadcast it to everybody, report it to everybody, and they're not allowing that. And that's what this hearing's about. And that's what the coalition is about as well. And so now they're waiting on the Supreme Court to rule on that, and that's why they're saying it's slowing it down for this judge to be able to do anything with it. One more to hit 100. Hit that button, guys. Give me 100 likes so we can get out into that right algorithm, folks. Please, please, please. We got 132 awesome people in here, guys, and I thank you so very much for being here with us. Thank you, Paul. I appreciate that. That's absolutely correct, Alien, and I agree with you 100% on that. These families need to be able to do whatever it takes to get them through this. That's a fact. All right. 14 seconds ago, Brian says the judge says AP Media Coalition needs to tone down their challenge to the gag order. Here we are. Once again. Again, what that means is that the judge thinks that the media coalition is asking for too much. Well, based on what I understand what this asking for is just the right to report the story. And they're telling them that they can't, they're not able to do it. Thank you, G. I appreciate that. 108 likes. That's awesome, guys. We should be out there now in the right algorithm. Welcome, Angela Lewis, or 19. Thank you for joining us. What he has proof of other people being involved, guilty of the charges he faces. Can that be communicated with the prosecution or judge before the trial? I am not sure, Angela, but that's a great question. All right. Let's see if there's anything new. 32 seconds ago. There's two different issues happening in the court right now with Koberger's gag order. The Goncalves family attorney wants clarity so he can speak on behalf of his clients. Number two, the media coalition is fighting for more public information, less strict gag order. Absolutely. Absolutely. We, as social media creators, cannot report correctly to you guys without having, as this says, better information, okay? We get little bits, tidbits, and pieces of things, and we try to take what we can and make that into something to give to you guys. And the problem is, because of the gag, the way it's set, we can't do any more than that, okay? And we can't even get our information from general media to bring it to you guys the way we want to either. Which is why there's so much speculation going on, why there's so many rumors and so on and so forth. You would think, because they don't want all this speculation, that they would do something with that. So again, guys, for those of you just popping in here, as of 1 minute ago, Brian Enton tweets, there are two different issues happening in the court right now with the Koberger gag order. Number one, the Goncalves family wants clarity, and that's big. They've been talking about that from the beginning. They want clarity, okay, so that the attorney for them can speak on behalf of his clients, and that's a big deal. You know, the family for Kaylee, they want to be able to speak about what they want to speak about, and that's going to help them get through this in their minds, but they can't because of this gag, okay? Number two, the media coalition is fighting for more public information with less strict, with a less strict gag order is what they're asking for. Well, there's Mama Bear. Whenever you're ready, Mama Bear, I'm ready. There is your link, my dear. Dago, is there anything in criminal law / murders if a small town and all public and grand jury knows, family or not, they say guilty if the judge from there knows parents? Here's the thing. It's going to be a conflict of interest anyway. Okay, they're obviously looking into those things. If anybody's close to the families or the victims, they're not going to be involved in this, period. That's the way that works. If they have to, they'll look for a new change of venue. They'll, remove the judge if there was a problem. They would adjust things to whatever the issues are. Okay. Let me check again. Let's see. Refresh. Nothing new yet. Again, guys, we're following. There she is. Mama Bear's in the house. Hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
Welcome. Good to have you here. As I said, we're following, for anybody just jumping in, we're following Brian Enton on Twitter. He's in there live with the hearing right now because they can't go live. It will be broadcast after the fact when the hearing's done, but I'm just trying to keep you guys on point with what's going on right now via Twitter. Right. See, I'm reading it to you before they're even putting it up here on WFLA, so I'm pretty good with that. Yeah. Papa Roger, what's up, bud? Defense doesn't have to find any other suspects. They just need to prove that Koberger didn't commit the crimes. The DA needs to do their job to bring justice sent from my iPad. Amen to that one. Amen to that one. I don't know if you were following Mama Bear with the hearing. Did you hear it all? Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you heard me or not. Thank you so much. We can try call-ins, Eddie. If it will not give me the static. If not, you can always jump on panel when we go to do that. Once we get through this hearing, folks, and we're done with that, we're going to get right into what we were going to do today is follow up with Friday's stream, open discussion, open panel. But yeah, we can try it both ways, whatever ways you guys are comfortable with, and we'll talk about all of this. You know what? It wasn't said, Tara. I didn't see or hear anything about Brian's family being there.
I think
I
I
know
heard that they were not.
Yeah, I had heard that they were doing
Like a Zoom.
like a Zoom scenario. Yeah, they were doing Zoom for his family. I mean, they're so far away. I can understand that.
Yeah.
And again, we're going to talk about the new allegations via Dateline, of course, with the cameras and all that fun stuff too. That's going to be part of the open discussion. I'm sure lots of people have lots of things to talk about with that. Very good point. That's all any of us want. And that's a fact, Paladin, is that whoever the real perpetrators are, whether it's Brian Koberger or it's not Brian Koberger, needs to be brought to justice to give these families and these victims true justice, folks, period. Let's see here. Welcome, Harlot, by the way. I really hope media doesn't somehow mess it up for the Goncalves family. Hope they are considered separately, because Goncalves just want their lawyer to be able to speak with them, for them, and not about money for them. Very, very, very good point, Harlot. Thank you. Let me see. Hello? Oh, that's Eddie. Okay, let's see here. Well, I'm not going to be able to follow the Twitter, but we can run this call real quick here. Hold on. Do you have Twitter, Mama Bear?
Yep, I can pull it up.
All right, thank you. 1 second, folks. Eddie, can you hear me? Are you still here? Where'd you go? I just answered. What happened? If you can hear me, Eddie, you're gonna have to call back, because it hung up somehow when I answered. Unless let me call you. I hate this phone. Eddie, this is Dago. Can you hear me?
Yeah, very well.
All right, hold on, bud. Let me make sure that we can hear you. Barely hear you. Okay, go ahead and say something.
Okay, how does this sound?
You're really low, bud. Really low.
Well, we'll give it a try. If it's something that we cannot manage, I'll try the StreamYard later.
Okay. Can you guys hear him okay?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, go ahead, bud.
So the one thing that with the Dateline NBC that I kind of agree with, there wasn't any truth in that program, but one thing that I could agree with was when that one particular expert said that, the killer didn't just wake up that morning and decide to kill 4 people.
Right. Hold on, Eddie.
Yeah.
Say something.
Okay.
It's not working. Okay. We're just gonna have to go with what you're going. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. How's this sound?
They're getting static on the other side of things, Kim said.
Yeah, really bad.
Yeah, it's really bad. Let me back you up. Okay, yeah, if you can click the StreamYard link and come, you're more than welcome to come up here and do it that way.
Yeah, let's try that.
Okay, bud. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Sorry, folks. I got to get the soundboard set up so that I can just run calls directly through that, and then there's no worries with that, so my apologies. That was turned all the way up, Heather. All the way up, and I could barely hear it, so... I don't know. For some reason, when he calls, we don't get very much noise out of it. Anything new with Twitter?
Judge is not making any decisions today on the Koberger gag order. Hearing set for June 9th to address it. Also a hearing June 27th to address cameras in court.
Okay, hold on here.
If you have a question that has gone unasked, I'm really trying to get as many up on screen. We'll look for Hay Walt in a second, but really quickly, will the jury be sequestered a good question. I mean, how does the this is more of a question for Peter Tragos or one of the other legal analysts that we have here on stream. Maybe a Bryant Camerano is another one, but how
That's
you
not
protect
too
the
common,
jury and
Studi,
make
that
sure
I've
the
heard of.
jury is as neutral and as
Sequestration is really not done that often. I'm not sure if either of those attorneys would agree it's extreme. I know when I've tried to think, oh, that juror will be sequestered, I was wrong. So it's possible it won't be sequestered. The judge tells the jurors, beginning of the day, end of the day, generally, maybe at lunch break. Remember, probably at lunch break. Do not.
Okay, we have the hearing for the gag is going to be, when did you say?
June 9th.
June 9th. Okay, and then the cameras in the courtroom, when?
June 27th.
Okay, there you go, folks. June 9th, June 27th. The motions to lift gag order will be heard on June 9th. Briefs due June 2nd. Response due June 6th. And replies due June 8th. Thank you very much, Detective Amanda Meow in the house. Good job. Appreciate that. What is going on? Oh my God, syphilis, are you a trained health physician? And have you seen Brian in person diagnosing this by an appearance? Who said what? I'm lost. Welcome, Chick Antique. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Looks like the gang's all here. Welcome, guys. I've been waiting on you. Mama Bear's in the house. We are fully locked and loaded. Let's do this. Online gaming channels I mentioned are moving to the back chain and will be very difficult to penetrate the security. The trail is growing colder by the day. That's a good point, Paladin. Lynn69, welcome. Good to have you. It's great to have you all here today, guys. We are up in the algorithm now. I believe we broke 100 likes, so I thank you all so very much for that. So everybody that wants to be here will be here.
Brian just tweeted, correction, both gag order and cameras will be addressed on the 9th. The 27th is an evidentiary
hearing. Okay, gotcha. I was going to say that was kind of dumb to separate that, 2 different days. That doesn't make any sense, but okay. Thank you, Mr. Brian Enton. I appreciate that again.
Yep.
All right. Eddie, if and when you're ready, my friend, you can try. Here is a link right there in the chat, sir. If you want to click or can click on that, you're welcome to. Very much so. I'd love to hear what you have to say. Again, guys, we're going to go ahead and carry on with Friday's show. Continued the open discussion and open panel one at a time. We will bring you guys up here and let you speak your piece. It would be too much for us to have like 2 or 3 or 4 of you guys up here. Jules said she'd be joining us here in a minute. There he is.
Yay.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right. That sounds great, Eddie. Good to have you here, brother. What's going on?
Well, that Dayline NBC, there isn't much beyond lies that was in that content. However, one thing I did agree with, I did agree with was when that one expert said that, whoever did this, they didn't just decide overnight to take the lives of 4 people. There was a buildup. They commonly harm animals ahead of, taking the lives of people.
Yeah.
Are you able to hear me?
Okay. Yeah, I can hear you. Can everybody hear him okay?
I can.
Okay.
Yeah, I think there's
you're good,
a bit
buddy.
of
You're
a
good.
delay that makes it
A delay? Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit
We
of a
get
delay
that
makes it a
sometimes
challenge.
because of where you guys are at, but yeah.
So he
Absolutely.
mentioned that there was commonly a buildup, but the strange thing about the connection that he was trying to make is rather than going the route of harming animals, they kind of suggested that there's a connection with the underpants situation next door in
Right.
March of that year.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, to me, that is such a biased broadcast. But I would agree with him to the point that you find the person that was building up and who has a history of harming animals, and then you have found your killer.
Yeah, that's agreeable. That can be agreeable.
Yeah, document for me that Brian has a history of this type of behavior, and then you now have my attention.
100%. 100%.
So I mentioned on another channel this morning that this is looking more and more like a conspiracy and a cover-up. Also that he was framed, but it's more of a stretch to believe that he did do this crime than he didn't.
And I'm gonna have to say I agree, and I've been saying it's more of a stretch to say that he committed this crime than it's more conspiracy sounding like now that he committed this than it is that it's not, if that makes sense, folks. And I agree with Eddie on that. And here's why. Okay, as we've been saying, there are so many things. First off, Eddie, I agree with you, and I'm gonna have to say one thing with this. I'm a huge Dateline fan. I've watched Dateline for years. Every series they've ever had, every show, every episode. That show was the worst coverage of this case I've seen. And like I think you said it, it seemed to be more rumor than true in that. And that is a nationally broadcasted show. I was very disappointed with it, and I'm just leaving it at that. So I agree with that. Okay.
Yeah.
Now at this point here, like I said, it seems more conspiracy like that Brian committed this than it does not. Okay, like I said, because of all of the suspicious, weird, offhanded things that we're seeing and that have gone out in front of us. Okay, and I understand. I've had conversations with a few people this morning about this already. My mother being one of them. She's very vested in this case as well now. And she always plays devil's advocate with me, and I love that because it keeps me on my toes. So that being said, she points out the things that make him look like he's guilty, and I'm looking at the things that make him look innocent at the same time, because it seems, which one weighs more? They're about the same at this point, you know what I mean? But there seems to me, after the things we've talked about over the past couple weeks, guys, to be more that point towards the fact that he had nothing to do with this, in my opinion, in some senses, okay? Because he couldn't have. Only because he couldn't have. And I'm saying he couldn't have in a very speculative manner, because they're making it look like he couldn't have. Now, is that something they're doing on purpose? I can't say. And I don't believe they would. That would make no sense. So that's my take on it. But go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just wanted to put that out there. Go ahead.
Yeah, what really concerns me is that up to this point, the most compelling piece of circumstantial evidence they have, which is the DNA, they want to disregard that. Now, of course, that suggests that they have so much more. And what I'm most fearful of is that it's possibly going to be blood in the car. After all, what else could it be? And
right,
even a lot of these people throughout the course of this that have really been siding with him, innocent until proven guilty. Even some of these voices are saying, well, if there's blood in the car, then more than likely that means he's done it. But the problem that I'm really having with blood in the car is that looks more like the crime scene is being put on him as opposed to him being on that crime scene. For example, if he has his blood in that house, or if he has his fingerprints in the house, if he has a witness in that house, and if maybe his DNA is under the fingernails of the victims, and he has the corresponding marks on his face, now that means so much more. But if you're just planting evidence about him, that is suspicious looking, even though it's blood evidence in the car.
It is.
So
you are very welcome, Julie. You're correct.
So I just wanted to kind of share that.
No, absolutely. And I agree with you. I always love what you have to say, Eddie, because you're very insightful in with everything we talk about, bud. You really are, and I appreciate it. And here's the thing, guys. I don't want. I say this every time I'm live. Everything we talk about, first off, is only because we have no choice, purely speculative and 100% alleged. Now, that being said, we don't have any choice other than what we talk about. That's what this whole gag thing is about, guys. Okay, it's a problem because I do not want to bring you guys anything less than factual material. I don't, because I don't believe in that either. But I keep saying he's 100% innocent until they prove him guilty. And we have to follow that, guys, because that is the way it has to be. Here's the thing, okay? I don't want people taking it and going the other direction with it either and saying that, you know, wanting to believe so much that Kohberger is so innocent that they want to believe nothing but the fact that this is being put on him 100%. Okay, we have to watch the facts, guys, and we have to keep that. We can't have tunnel vision with that. We got to keep a broad spectrum of what we're looking at. That's a very important scenario because we could flip this and go 100% the other way and make it a complete and total, jump down the rabbit hole 100% and think that everything that the police are doing and everything that law enforcement is touching and that the judicial system is doing with this prosecution is all conspiracy. I don't want that to happen either. I want this to stay level and square, and we're just watching the facts and what they're giving us. And God willing that they drop this gag thing, we're going to be all out there, guys. You know that. And I will continue to bring you the most factual stuff that I can. But keep in mind, guys, we have to stay level with this. It's very important.
Lastly, before I go, my battery's starting to get pretty warm. But
yes, sir.
Do you recall during that first court hearing, probably back in January, when there was the final bit of business that they had to cover at the end of that court hearing was Bill Thompson. He wanted a no contact order so that Brian Kohberger could not get in touch with any of the victims' families or either of the surviving witnesses. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
I'm reflecting on that, and I wonder if we can read into that a little bit. And does that suggest that they didn't really want the person who could alibi Brian Kohberger and have exculpatory evidence talking together so that they build, so to speak, a strong team together?
Yes.
So just been thinking about that. It's been weighing on my mind as well.
That's it. That's a very good point. Very, very good point, Eddie. I appreciate that too.
Okay. Well, I'll hang up and listen now. Thank you.
All right, sir. Well, thank you once again. Like I said, Eddie, we love having you call in. You're very insightful and very, very intelligent with this, and I love that. Thank you again.
Thanks, Diggle.
Thanks, Eddie.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm up here.
All right, buddy. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Paladin, that's a great comment. And that's the same that me and Mama Bear had that conversation this morning. That's exactly the same way we both feel. It's not that I don't want Brian to be innocent, okay? Or I don't want him to be innocent per se. I want the evidence to be solid. And then if he's not guilty, to immediately find out who did it. Bingo. That's what we want. 100%. If Brian is not guilty, that's all we want. We want it to be proven without a shadow of a doubt. And we want real evidence to be put out there and the real people responsible to be, taken care of with it. Now, if Brian is guilty, it goes the same way. That's what we want, period. Okay. It's not we want him to be the one that did it. Don't take that for what, don't mistake that, guys. I just want the true person that did this to be in jail, period. For the sake of the families and for the sake of the victims and the story, true justice and nothing but.
Yep.
So let that be known. And I respect that, Paladin. Thank you for saying that because that's 100% how we feel as well. And I'm noticing that a lot of people in chat are saying the exact same thing. Van Life said the same thing. All of this. So yes, very much so. Carolyn says it. All of you guys. And that's why I like this because we're all on the same page with this. But we're also open-minded enough to be able to look at this outside of this Okay, because when we see this is all we see, guys, and that's not how these trials have to be. Especially with this case, we got to be able to see all of this. Okay, and that's what the big deal is right now. Okay, anybody else that wants to jump up here and speak their mind before we get into anything else? Yes, ma'am.
Absolutely, Jules.
Jules said she's ready. All right. Of course, just the audio. That's all we need is your gorgeous voice, my dear. That's all we need to hear. And it is so smart. I always love listening to what she has to say. The link is in the chat, hon. Anytime you're ready.
Paula says they're having a disagreement about the DNA.
All right. I think I saw a piece of. Remember, guys, we can agree and disagree and agree without problem whatsoever. I want Jules to touch on that when she wait till she gets up here, and I will address that, guys, about the DNA. I know somebody said that it's not his DNA, it's not Brian's, it's his father's because of the garbage, so on and so forth. Whenever she jumps in here, we will definitely address that right away. Okay. That way we have 3 of us to talk about it and not just one. That's a good point, Sophie. And that's something that we've all kind of had an issue with, is that the Texas lab has not been mentioned anywhere. That was an issue I had. That was an issue that Jules had. Okay, that's Tsunami.
Hello?
Can you hear me? Hey, can you hear me? Yes, no?
Hello? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, sir.
So, the one thing I got away with the Brian Kohlberger not pleading at all is I could see
Yes.
in Ann Taylor's final statement to the jury is like, you heard the quote from the judge, not guilty.
Yes. Absolutely. Is that what you're asking about that, or you're just
No. I can predict that's what she's going to say in her final statement to the jury.
Okay.
Oh, 100%. Yes. Absolutely 100%.
It came right out of the judge's mouth, jury, not guilty.
That's going to be the way she takes this too. I can almost promise you. You are absolutely correct, sir.
And all the other stuff, I'm 50-50 on the whole thing.
Right.
Strictly
I understand.
50-50.
Well, and like I said, with what we've been given, we can only go so far with that. You know, you've said things throughout. This is Tsunami, by the way, folks, for you guys that didn't know, is in chat all the time. You know, we've all had back and forth with this because of the information we're given. We don't have 100% true facts, folks. We never have. We have what they give us, and we take that and we dig and we dig and we dig and we figure out what it is. So at this point, you know, like Eddie had said, there's not enough evidence in anybody's eyes to say that this man did this. Okay. And that's based on what they've given us. So they can't say, well, you guys they have him in custody. They don't have anybody else in custody. They haven't mentioned anybody else, so on and so forth. So how could you think that anybody else did this? Okay. They have somebody in custody. Great. They have touched DNA on a knife sheath. And now what? That's it. That's not enough, in my opinion, to convict somebody of quadruple murder. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it's all 3D chess, and what Dateline and all the media outlets are doing, they're just playing Battleship right now.
That's it. 100%. That's a good way to put it too. Thank you for that.
But that was it. Let me go start taking notes on this case, and I might be able to be more informative.
That sounds great, buddy. I appreciate you jumping up here today.
No problem, man. Keep up the good work.
All right. Thank you so much. Welcome, Jules. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I'm here. What's up?
There she is. What's up, sis?
I'm just, I guess I'm still like in my emotions about the stupidity of the judge right now.
Right. That kind of blew my mind too.
Like he didn't even correct it. That's
Right.
what made me the most upset. The family's like right there.
You want to correct him too. That's the thing. You just
Yeah.
wanted to grab him and go say it right and shake him. I see you, Van Leif. Hang on one second, hon. Yeah, I couldn't believe he did that. That was just totally
Unprofessional.
Yeah, beyond unprofessional. And here's the thing that really got me. Okay, not even the mispronunciation of the names, as horrible as that was, and disrespectful as that was.
Yeah.
But when he said the whole, "I'm sorry, this is hard." Do you know how many people heard that comment and immediately said,
Yeah, I heard you talking about that earlier. I agree. There's going to be a wildfire from that, I'm sure, simply because
"You
of
know it"? Yes,
that one
yes,
statement.
100%. And so now he's going to be probably recused. Okay, I guarantee it.
I
can
mean, he
almost
should
guarantee it.
anyway. Like, honestly, this should be one of those technicalities that they need to be very, like, detailed and nitpicky about, because basically, on record, bro, on record, Brian Koberger is
Yes.
pleading this to a Kaylee. I mean, to a Kayla, not to a Kaylee. So whenever it goes into the transcription, and this is in court documents, his answers are going to be for the murder of a Kayla.
Yep.
That's
Yes,
a
ma'am.
problem.
That's a huge problem.
I'm mad.
How do you make that mistake in a case like
Twice.
this? This is one of the highest. Yeah, this is probably one of the highest profile cases I've ever seen in my life. And you did that.
This is coming from the stupid judge who was there for the grand jury, the one who listened to all these secret pieces of evidence about all of this stuff that no one else is privy to, and he still got their names wrong.
Yep.
I don't
tell me you didn't.
comprehend.
And I'm waiting to hear somebody say, "Well, I hadn't really looked at the case, so I wasn't sure." Bullshit. Sorry, but
Yeah.
bullshit.
He's been.
Everybody in the world
There's no
knows
way
that
that
case.
he hasn't been following every little bunny hop of this case since the day the 911 call was made. He's right there.
Exactly. It's just that was disgusting to me. I'm sorry. And
Yeah, I'm
embarrassing. Yes.
mad. I'm still mad about it. Like, I'm sitting here and I still feel like my inside emotions are still the same as they were 25, 30 minutes ago. I'm mad.
Yep.
I can't even
And
imagine Steve right now. I can tell
That's what I was
Steve
getting ready.
probably is pretty heated.
Well, if it would have been broadcast out of the courtroom, we could have seen. You would have seen the whole family would have been completely appalled. I'm sure Steve is on fire still to this moment. I mean, that's his daughter.
Yeah.
That's his daughter specifically. And you said her name wrong? Why didn't you say Koberger's name wrong? Why didn't you say the attorney's name wrong? No, you said one of the victims' names wrong. You can't do two of the victims' names wrong, actually.
Yeah.
So
And like I mentioned in my comment earlier, I noticed that whenever Kernodle's name was being mispronounced, it almost looked as if Brian's lips were moving to say the name correctly, and then he stopped himself. It was interesting body language for sure.
absolutely. And he shifted in the chair when Maddie's name was
Said
spoken.
Maddie's name. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Whether that was because he was uncomfortable with that name specifically, or if it was just because he was uncomfortable in the chair. So,
well,
you know how people read things.
Yeah, well, I noticed he was pretty still, pretty stoic, pretty much the whole time until it started coming down to the murder charges being being read, and then he started moving around, and then him and Ann Taylor's nonverbal communication started, and they looked at each other, and that's whenever when that stuff was being stated is whenever he was the most had the most movement, the most noticeable changes. After that, everything went back to the way it was, just him there. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay, ladies, I'm going to bring Van Life up real quick and let her say what she wants to say here, and then we're going to jump into what we're going to say, if that's okay with you two.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sure.
All right. Welcome, Van Life. Good to have you here. How are you?
Thank you. Thank you for having me. That last caller made a huge point, and I was going to bring that up too. My question was, will that mess up his case with the Kaylee? Because since the judge said that?
I think he's going to have to recuse himself now immediately because of that. Nobody, that's my opinion. I'm not, an attorney or anybody that knows anything.
Yeah.
But that alone, I think, in with as high profile as this case is, like I was just saying, I think that would leave him no choice but to recuse himself.
Okay, and then, so I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead, finish.
No. I was just going to say that, and the mispronunciation of Xana's name, and the fact that he said, "I'm sorry, this is hard." That should have stopped it all right there.
Are they doing that on purpose in order to prolong the process, making it seem like they got to do it over again?
That's a good question, isn't it?
Yeah.
It very much is. That's my thought too. I was thinking that. I just wondered.
Okay, now you did read my comments about why
absolutely.
I feel that this is happening. All right, but before I go into that, let's talk about the DNA on the sheaf. Everybody's under the impression that it's Brian Koberger's DNA when it's his father's DNA.
And that's where we had issues in the chat, and that's what we're going to talk about here.
Yeah,
That
that's
way-
real important. I'm
I
sorry.
No. You don't have to apologize. You're okay. I just want everybody to understand it clearly so that nobody is confused. And that's the part that I'm going to leave to Jules, who has the degrees that I don't have, to explain. And then you and her can explain that the way you're explaining it that way. So go right ahead, both of you.
I'll wait for her.
Okay. Whoever wants to go first.
Okay, so I agree that the way that it is written in the PCA is extremely confusing because it does make it seem as if the sheath DNA and the trash DNA were tested to both be the possible father or the 99.9% whatever father of the suspect. I don't know if it's just because they're completely incompetent or what the case is with that, because if it was truly the father's DNA, then he would be the one in cuffs right now, not Brian. So it is very strange, honestly. Unless his father was there with him the day of the murders and he happened to transfer some of his father's DNA at the scene, I would highly doubt it's his father's DNA on the sheath. It just seems like they are incompetent in putting a sentence together that makes any sort of logical sense, honestly, once we went back through the entire thing and there was so many mistakes.
Okay. And is there if I say something now, or so I don't want to interrupt
Yo,
anybody?
No, you're
Okay.
fine, hon. Go ahead.
Now, I'm definitely not going to put down her points. Her points are wonderful and they're great. But here's the thing. The father had a alibi. That's why he wasn't arrested. He was working. And on top of it, that they did say that they're not going to be using that DNA. They're going to be using other evidence. They never ruled it as Brian Koberger's DNA at all. And due to the fact that the father already has an alibi, was at work, they can't even use it.
Oh, okay. But when you're saying that it's his DNA on the sheath itself, okay?
Yeah.
When they put it in the PCA, they stated that it was based on his father's DNA. If I remember the verbiage, am I right or am I wrong?
Yes. No, you're right. But here's the thing. They still never got a positive for Brian. They also did a search warrant of the very place that specifically said that it was the father's DNA, the genealogy place.
No. That information from the genealogy stuff has never been released. The only information that we got from that so far came from that Dateline episode, and all that they mentioned there is that sometime after December the 16th is whenever they sent off to get some genealogical work done. And I'm going to assume, if that is accurate whatsoever, that meant that that's whenever it was sent over to the Othram labs over.
I will definitely have to get you that information, but they did do their own investigation on that genie lab. Sorry, I'm not, my pronunciations aren't very good. But they did do a search warrant there because they were under the impression with what it looked like is that they went through the trash to get DNA. So basically, they're trying to basically say that somebody was trying to frame him. So that's what the search warrant was, to see if there's anything there that they used.
Okay, but what search warrant are you talking about? Because the only two that are listed and publicly released are for the Moscow lab and for Coeur d'Alene.
I will find it, because I don't even know if that particular one ended up into the gag order, but I had it. I had a copy of it.
Yeah,
and everybody,
anything about
and it's been on the news. It's been about them doing that. I mean, the other channels had even mentioned it. So I will definitely have to do my research on that to get back to that. So I do apologize. So for anybody that's all hearsay at this point, all right, let's get back. I apologize. I'm like totally cutting you off.
No, you're
fine.
I'm
just trying to figure out where, Because I know in the PCA it makes it seem as if it was his dad's DNA in the trash and they matched it to the sheath, and that's how the sheath DNA is most likely the son of the trash DNA person and vice versa. But that in itself is a completely different testing according to what we're hearing now. The genealogy testing was done before they even had the trash DNA, because they're stating that after the genealogy list came back with this short list where they had a very specific name, that's whenever Payne went and got Brian Koberger's direct AT&T records. And
Right.
if I remember correctly,
you're
that warrant
correct
was
on
on
that.
like 12/23 or 12/24,
Mhm.
and they didn't get the DNA from the trash till 12/27. So they would have had to have gone off of the genealogical list that they got sometime after 12/16 in order to even know to be looking towards Pennsylvania in the first place. Just from what I'm getting, if anything, that Dateline
Yes.
told us when it
And
came from that was right.
and yes, that is exactly the way they put it out. But the thing is in their mind is, how did it automatically appear when they have already had it in their own lab? They had to send it out to a different lab. They just felt like something else happened in between that, before it even got to that lab, regardless if they sent the trash in the beginning. But they never said that they got the trash in the beginning. We already know that. But they did something in between, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and that's what I think that genealogical testing thing is. That's like the difference. People are thinking that they mean the genealogical match from the trash DNA to the sheath DNA, but I think they're trying to tell us that it came from somewhere else originally to get them to that direction, and then they use the trash DNA to basically verify. But I do recall there was such a big issue with this in the beginning, because from what I remember, the first time that the sheath was ever looked at, they didn't find nothing on it.
Nothing.
No DNA
Right.
whatsoever. And then
Yeah,
all
there
of
was
a sudden
nothing.
there's a touch DNA thing on there. So I don't understand how some startup lab in the Woodlands would have more powerful stuff than the FBI. So none of that makes any sense to me whatsoever. But I mean, it's all going to have to come out in court. If they have the correct paper trails and they can prove it the way that we're expecting them to, then cool. I don't understand why they had to be so stupid.
Just to let you know, they're going to do all they can to put that DNA off to the side. They don't
Yeah.
want to use it because they already know that they're caught.
Yes.
Yeah,
I agree.
and I think that it's very important still, because even if they're wanting to exclude it now, which they're making it very clear they're gonna exclude it. It was written in the PCA to arrest him, and if they wouldn't have gotten those DNA matches to be what they were expecting it to be, they would not have cuffed him that night. And so it all matters. It all matters.
It does, but now all of a sudden, every single thing that they put together so far has been picked apart. If they truly had exactly what you believe that they had in order to convict him, they would have already done it right now, because the jury's already listening to everything. The judge even answered for him for a reason.
Yeah, the stand silent thing was interesting. I expected Brian Koberger, just from what we've kind of like observed of his personality, for him to just straight up stand up and say not guilty, like proud and firm. That's really what I was expecting here, for real.
That's what I
was
expected too.
taken back a bit. Yeah.
We've all said.
There's more to that, and including making a mistake on names. Trust me on this.
Yeah, I'm so disgusted by that.
If you would, Van Life, if you don't mind, if you have the time, I would love to see what the information you're talking about, as we all would, absolutely. So,
yeah, I mean, I'll look at it for sure. I want to see if we can find something that states that it came from something else, because I'd love to
100%.
see.
Yeah, because all right, most definitely. If I have to, I'll see if I can get my old copy back from Ann Taylor's team, because I sent them the copies that I found, because they didn't know nothing about that.
Okay.
So I'll see if they can give it, if I can't find it. All right. I did show proof that I was in touch with them and all that. I don't want to like get into whatever we discuss, as I'm not supposed to.
No, you're right. Absolutely.
All right. I don't have anything else besides. I just wanted to put that out there because everybody's saying it's Brian's DNA. It's Brian. They got him. It's over. And I'm like, wait, well, okay. Well, these officers, all of a sudden, they say they seen a sheep, and then they go, oh, I didn't see the sheep. So and so told me it was there, and then there's no cam for it. No cam on their bodies when they walked into that room.
Right. Yeah.
To place that sheaf, and that is what Ann Taylor's looking for.
Well, and then also in the search warrants, it's stating they're looking for the dang thing still.
exactly. That's
And,
what I
and
was
then,
going
and
to
then,
say.
and you did read the list of different knives that they're looking for. So,
Yeah.
which means there was multiple knives in that situation. On top of it, they're not even 100% sure what type of knife it actually is. They're going by this so-called sheath that they found. Now, I did go over the different type of knives and how they cut. If you stab or slice, or if you have it says sharp edges on both sides, it's a nice there's no jagged pulling out flesh. And then if you
Mhm.
have the knife that has the jagged edges on the top, that would pull the fleshes out.
That's the rated side, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's
I don't
even
know how to
it's
explain it very
noticeable.
well.
It's noticeable in the PCA that they have to be not telling us the full truth about the weapon, because Xana and
Yeah.
Ethan's wounds are described differently in themselves.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And they are definitely not at all telling you the truth about the timeline, or who was actually the target, or where the murder actually started. So that we have it completely backwards, and we just don't right now. We don't have any information. We don't have any proof of that. But every single thing that we're finding out that it did not start upstairs.
Yeah, there's still so many questions left here. Like I don't even know. I know the last time that they were doing updates that they were still unsure about which way the person even left the house. So I'm
Correct.
hoping at this point with with this grand jury thing that they're doing now, they better have some for real concrete stuff.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
everything they've released to us is crap.
Well, here's another thing the FBI had to release over the DoorDash stuff, right? They use these food deliveries as well to transport their order, if you know what I mean, the drug orders.
Yes.
That's why the food wasn't even touched or used, because it was more of a transfer of something. Now,
Right.
and right now, sorry.
No, I know what you're saying. That's okay.
Yeah.
And real quick, just to reiterate what she was saying, folks. She's talking about a serrated edge this way and a flat edge that way. Okay, this is serrated, if you can see it with the lighting in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then this would be a complete straight edge. It's not straight, but it's closer to a K-bar style, which is what they're talking about. Okay, but that's what she's describing for you guys, so that you're not confused. And what they're saying is that there was no, if this type of a blade would have been used, okay, with the serrated edge, when it went in, as it came out, it would have ripped and tore whatever it was cutting. Okay, guys. So that's what she was trying to explain. And again, so sorry to interrupt.
No, that was good. I lost my train of thought though.
But I mean, you're right. They really are kind of basing the entire murder weapon thing that they're telling us anyway off of this sheath, and it's very possible that it has nothing to do with it.
Well, and here's my problem, and I'll just state my problem with that the whole time. When Steve Goncalves described the wounds on his daughter, he said large puncture marks. Okay. This is not going to make a large puncture mark, folks. And the only thing I could think of, and I'm not saying that this is fact. This is
and that's a fish knife, isn't it? A fish peel knife.
This is a Bowie knife, basically.
Oh, okay. Because I didn't know if the one that they're looking for is like a what you would use on the
like
fish.
A hunting knife. Like a hunting knife, basically, is what it is. Yeah, it can be used for fish and whatever you want, but they were more like gouges and punctures, he said. Okay. The only thing, and this is my own speculation. It's not. I'm not saying that this is a fact or this what is, but I said if you were to take a golf club and bust the end off of it, you have a round cylindrical metal weapon that's sharp on the ends, and that would make gouge marks that are large. And you know what I'm saying? That was what I was saying. It didn't sound anything like a knife. That was just an opinion of mine, though, folks. Basically,
you're not the only one. Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. That's why I had issues with the weapon in question, period. So anyway, that explained, just to explain all that stuff to you guys is what I was trying to do. But moving forward, was there anything else that you wanted to throw out there, Van Life?
I forgot what I was saying when you were starting to talk about the knife. I thought because like I said, I lost my train of thought, and I know it was on something good, but I forgot what it was. Nobody
I'm trying to
remembers. Okay.
I can't even.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. Maybe it's not as important as I thought it was. If it was, I'll come back with it later. No, that's about it. Thank you for having me. I do
Anytime.
apologize if I came off wrong, or also, you know, if anything I said that seems gosh, you know, like gosh, false news or anything like that. I will do my best to make sure I bring. I guess because they say the word receipts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I understand. That's
and there's
fine.
only
And I
so much.
appreciate that.
Yeah, and there's only so much I'll be able to even gather and tell you anyway without receipts. I guess that's how you put it. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
absolutely.
I got nervous.
No problem. You don't have to worry about apologizing.
You're
I
fine,
appreciate. Yeah, we appreciate anything you guys want to say. So, it's all you guys' right to speak your piece about whatever it is. Nobody's ever going to down you or damn you or attack you because of it. So,
Thank
thank
you.
you so very much. Absolutely.
Yeah, we're
honey.
just all trying to figure out what's actually going on here.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm done. I gotta go to work. I know I don't look like I'm well dressed to go to work, but I work remotely, so I gotta go. But
All
thank you
right.
for having me. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you for jumping up here.
Okay,
Thanks,
bye-bye.
hon.
All right. Bye bye. Thank you again, Van Life. I appreciate that. I know that's been an issue with a lot of people, that whole DNA thing at this point. But if she's got anything, I'd love to see what she has to see what she's talking about at that aspect of it. So thank you, Jules, for explaining that the way you did. I appreciate that very much so. So what did you want to talk about, Miss Jules?
I mean, I'm just,
Other than the disgusting array of
well, I don't know.
what happened in the courtroom today.
I mean, I think the arraignment portion is probably the most important thing that's going to happen today. I don't really, I don't think anything else spectacular in the case is going to go down.
No.
I know that, I mean, I get that the family's lawyer wants to or the family wants their lawyer to be able to speak for them.
Yeah.
I just feel like if it's that big of a deal, if you really feel like there's something that you need to say, then just get your lawyers on advice on how to say it and say it yourself if you're not under the gag order. Like, well, I don't really quite comprehend this whole situation with their gag order hearing at all, honestly. I feel like it's unnecessary, truthfully, because it's not like their lawyer wouldn't say, okay, this is how you should say this statement if this is what you really feel that you need to speak on. I don't see why they have to have clarification if the lawyer can do it for them. They could just get advice on how to say it. I just don't get it. I feel like it's unnecessary.
That's what my thing was. I've wondered that kind of from the beginning. Why do you, like, if they don't have a gag on them specifically, okay, why do they have to have their attorney speak for them?
Yeah.
Why can't they
That's
just
a good
speak? I
point.
mean, other than like, don't say this or don't say that because it could ruin this or that. I understand that. So you talk to him and say, can I say this? Okay. No. Okay. And then you go have your conversation. That's
Right.
kind of
like, get your
that's
statement
my-
together, have him proofread it, go over it a couple of times, and then say what you got to say. I don't
that's
understand
it
the
right
point
there.
of this motion. I just don't.
It seems like it's too, like, just more red tape that's got to be cut through for no reason, in my opinion.
Yeah, and then it looks like the media petitioners just used it to piggyback on, and now
Yeah.
that's causing like more court dates and more kind of unnecessary things because they're not going to lift that gag order. Like, they can
I don't
try
think
all they want to, even if this moron gets replaced, the next judge isn't going to lift it.
No.
I agree with that 100%. Let me see. Am I missing anything? Gina Marie
Thank you,
said
Gina.
sorry for to me, but thank you. I don't know why you're saying sorry though.
There was a comment in the chat, and I had her sit out for a few minutes.
Oh, well, it's all right. Listen, guys, this is high tension, okay? And we are all so very vested in this. It can cause disagreements. It can cause hotheads. We just have to remember We're adults. Breathe. We all have a lot of passion for this case, okay? Because we want the true justice that is expected from this. And we have been run around in circles for months, okay? And it causes frustration with all of us, guys. And we have to remember that we are all on the same side. We all have the same end result that we want. And that's it in the end. No big deal. Welcome back, Molly. So, yeah, I will talk about one thing real quick. I was very shocked that they set this for October 2nd. Like,
Yeah.
I was not expecting anything less than next July.
Yeah,
the date's a little faster than I thought too.
Yeah, even Coffendorfer said that she thought it would be like years down the road.
I predicted 2 years initially, like, you know, but I said at the very minimal, maybe next July, but damn, October. But don't forget, folks, there's probably going to be extensions added to this. I can almost guarantee it.
They're going to continue it and continue it and continue it.
Yeah, did you hear the actually I don't know how many people follow numerology and stuff like this. I don't really read too much into it, but I also like see my own numbers and things, and that kind of tells me if I'm on the right path or not, you know, like little things like that, right? So Ann Taylor mentioned that there was like some sort of deadline for whenever this stuff could be set, and apparently the deadline was November 22nd. And then someone in the comments on my little update just posted that 6 weeks from 10/2 is 11/13.
Okay.
So it's really just the numerology here is a little creepy.
Ooh, that gave me
I wasn't looking for it. It just popped up.
Yeah, I just got goosebumps. That's
funny.
Funny.
It's weird.
Yeah.
That's weird. That is definitely weird. Wow. Listen, I'm nothing against anybody that likes her, and I'm just gonna tell you guys straight up front as we go on throughout this whole thing. I'm not a fan of Coffendorfer. I never have been. I think she did okay with the Brian Laundrie, Gabby Petito thing. After that, I don't like the way she approaches things. So I'm not going to talk down about her, nor will I talk down to anybody that talks about her. I'm just letting you guys know up front, I'm not a fan of hers. So
yeah, I'm not
really.
I'm not either. She kind of made me mad whenever she went on News Nation whenever they were talking about how apparently the ID cards and the gloves belong to or associated with the King Roadhouse, and then whenever on Dateline she's there giving commentary about how they're not related to the King Roadhouse. Now they're for two different women, and I'm like, can you pick a side? Like, this is just honestly, to me, she's a paid actor with no real opinion, and I'm just gonna
that's where I got mad too, and I started calling her Coffin Hacker because I couldn't handle her after that. She made me mad. So I agree with you on that one. And she's always got to put forth her opinion, and she acts like if you don't want to hear what she has to say, or she gets angry with other people that are on panels with her very quickly. And it's like, okay, we're all in it.
But it's not even honestly her own opinion at this point, and that's noticeable. She goes on the opinion of the narrative and whoever's paying her for whatever she's about to talk about. She has no true opinion.
Very much so. That's right. She's a follower for sure. So, as long as I don't upset anybody, I just wanted to put that out up front, guys. I don't want anybody to be offended by that. I'm not a fan of Coffin Hacker, and I never have been. So that's that. Or, I did it. Coffin Hacker. Sorry. Anyway, that's how I refer to her when I'm not on here. I don't like her. So it is what it is. And now I'm gonna again repeat what I thought about the Dateline scenario. That was the worst, in my opinion. I'm a huge fan of Dateline. Okay. Huge fan of Dateline. I've watched every version of their show that they have, and I've loved it for years until I watched this one episode, and I am completely disgusted with it. It was the worst, very worst coverage of this case I've seen yet. That was pathetic. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's like a common feeling for a lot of people I'm seeing on social media. They're like, dang, I've been watching Dateline for years. They're always my go-to, and I'm just like, what is this trash? Like, that's a big opinion right now.
You're right. I mean, I've watched, Lana said the same thing. I've said it. You said it. Multiple other people have said this that are creators as well as just general people. It was bad. It was like, it almost looks tasteful. Like, yes, that's the best word for it. Why did they have to put that poor girl in her underwear situation out there? They didn't have to do that. That didn't
And then
need
they
to be
put
done.
the stuff in there about the WSU girl who had her apartment broken into and had like a similar situation with her stuff moved around but not taken. And instead of calling the cops, she called Brian. Okay, well,
That's
that kind of
where-
also tells me that he must not be
Yep.
too damn creepy if she feels safe with him.
Exactly.
Bingo.
They went out there acting like
that's
he actually broke into there and set it all up and blah, blah, blah. Now, literally every news station everywhere is running with him breaking into her apartment as a sure thing.
that's it. And that's what I
It's
wanted to
gross.
talk about.
It's
That
gross.
that in itself is what ruined that whole show. Not to mention the whole underwear thing, but
Yeah.
that one right there, that was bullshit. I'm sorry.
It was utter
It
bullshit.
was. You know, you don't do what they did was they rewrote a narrative and said, "Here it is, guys, run, take it and run," and that's what they did. And everybody in
Mhm.
America, like you said, just like when Brian was arrested, he was guilty immediately. Hang him. Let's do it. It's over with. We got him. But no, and now they're doing it again. Okay, so it almost makes me feel that whoever did that story is a I Hate Brian fan. You know what I mean? And said,
Yeah.
let's make him even guiltier than he already is.
Yeah, because I made comments in my reaction video about the timing of its release. And, I had people in the comments stating, oh, so they just put it all together instantly. It's like, no, that's not how it works. They have had these interviews for months. This is all old, rehashed information we've talked about months and months ago that's barely relevant to even speak on anymore. And then they waited until something happened and clipped 2 seconds of grand jury information into it and then made it all of a sudden relevant. This was a plan. Like, come on.
Absolutely.
The news stations literally have celebrities' obituaries pre-written like way ahead of time just based on their behavior so they can be the first ones to get the story out. Like, come on. It's all crap.
That is 100% true. And here's the thing. Let me ask you guys out here, every one of you guys, and you two here too. If somebody broke into your apartment, the first person you're going to call is going to be a guy you know that is a criminology major or the police. Okay,
I'm calling
so
the police.
something like I want to know her credibility now. I want to look into her credibility now for saying something. If that's what she really said, that's ridiculous. Are you trying to get fame and link yourself to Brian Koberger now? Or
Well, but that's the thing, though.
if
This
that's
person isn't speaking out. This is like some sort of rumor or something that they got from somewhere, and now they're just running with it. There's no actual name of this girl or anything. They don't know if she was a TA, if she was a student. I mean, they say worked with, but she could have been an actual employee at the school and not a TA whatsoever, not even a college student. There's no real information. But to me, if you're like talking to a dude or you're like real close to a dude and you're a girl and you walk in and something feels wrong and your apartment's messed up, wouldn't you call your dude, your boyfriend, the guy you're talking to, maybe the guy you're sleeping with because you're scared? Like, that's kind of a normal reaction. Honestly, the two roommates would have calling their boyfriends first would have made more sense than the current situation. But for her to have called him instead of the cops, that to me tells me that he didn't give her no creepy vibe, no weird vibe. For some reason, she trusted him and felt safe with him. That's kind of an important situation, in my opinion. Now, if he did do some sort of long game situation, because I told you I do have complete 180 theories here. They can't just come out and state this kind of stuff without proof. And if there's no police report for this, how do we even know this story is true?
Very, thank you. Right. And here we are with a reputable news. How do you put this? I guess because it's kind of a series per se, but they're still a news outlet per se. Very reputable based on, things they've done in the past, putting out a rumor in a TV show. That's like, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? It's horrible.
Yep.
And I guarantee you their ratings go through the floor now. I promise you they will. And for good reason. I don't feel bad for that, so
they knew what they were doing. They messy.
I think they thought they were going to have a different outcome. They don't realize that there are people that are either on the fence or on the other side of this as compared to people that are in their ball court right now. If they saying Brian did this, there's a lot of those people. Yes, folks, there are. But as I preach, and most of the rest of us around here have preached, that he's innocent until proven guilty, you don't do something like that in this scenario.
Yeah. They're they came out and gave him all of those like smaller instances that usually lead up to the big situation that happen in these like people's timelines without there being any proof that those things had anything to do with him whatsoever.
Correct. And that was horrible. Like, it almost makes you wonder, is Dateline working with prosecution now? I mean, that's what it looks like. It's pathetic to say that, but that's what it looks like. You know what I'm saying?
Narrative.
Yeah, right. It's all narrative, folks. Follow this narrative all the way down that yellow brick road, because that's where we want you to go. It's ridiculous. I'm sorry. And they will. Kim, you're right. Dateline's going to get backlash from it. Like I said, their ratings are going to drop because there's a whole load of people that are disgusted right now with this. So it's going to happen.
Yeah, I'm seeing more disgust than goodness
Than
coming from this
anybody
episode.
being
when
happy with it. Yeah,
reaction-wise. Yeah.
I agree.
Yep.
Thank you, Boone, so much for the super chat. I didn't get a chance to do the little ching thing, so my apologies, but thank you so much. I appreciate you. And don't work too hard, dear. And thanks for being here with us too. I appreciate that too. What is that? Peter Tragos talking. Okay. So does anybody have anything they would like to add to that on that subject alone? I mean, I think we're all pretty much on the same page with that it was disgusting and ridiculous. So, that being said, thank you, CC. I appreciate that, dear. I'm looking to see if I'm missing anything here in the chat. I want to know the truth in this case because I got this. George Rodriguez says, do you people want to know the truth in this case? Because I got those spiritual eyes. Thank you, George. That's up to you, brother. If you want to put that out there, you can do what you want to do, sir. A lot of individual people are intrigued by numerology. It doesn't have to have anything to do with a secret society or the Masons. Being OCD would make a lot of people even more stuck on numbers also. Very possible and very true. Did you see Interview? Yes, I did watch that this morning, Quato. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mama Bear, for that as well.
No, I saw the title of that episode and chose not to watch it.
Yeah, I watched through it quickly. Panel of profilers, they aren't legal scholars, but they are unabashedly in the guilty camp, thought it was myopic. Very good point, Quato. Thank you. Let's see. I got crucified on the Idaho News YouTube live today for stating my case for reasonable doubt. That's scary. Well, that's why you're here, because we don't do that here. That's it right there. I'm sorry that happened to you. You are more than welcome to jump up here on panel and state what you'd like to state, my dear. Everybody and anybody is welcome. Let me know if you'd like to. I will put the link back and you can jump up and say what you want to say. That's what this is all about today. I'm not, again, guys, I'll give you right out front. I'm not a fan of Interview Room. I don't mind Chris McDonough, but again, like Joel said, when you see who's on panel, you kind of like, okay, let's go see something else that's a little bit more refreshing.
Yeah, I'll watch his interviews, but I don't really care to listen to his opinions, if that makes sense. He did really good interviews in the Summer Wells case. I've watched those. I don't even know how many times over, but his opinions I steer clear of.
Yeah, right. I just kind of wanted to get Dago's opinion of where they said that, excuse me, they felt that Brian still has the knife, that he's hidden it somewhere. Yeah. He still has it.
Yeah, on that panel, that's why she sent it to me, because they were saying that. And it's like, okay, guys, here's my thought on this. Let's go back to what I had said. If you want to go ahead and go first, Jules, that's fine, because I got a lot more to say than you probably will.
Yeah, because this is just part of my 180 theory of him actually, like, being the one orchestrated. I feel like if he really is one and alone and this was targeted and blah, 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 whatever, then it was a very, very long game that he played for a very, very long time. And if that is the case, if that ends up being the case, then they need to look in that Johnson area, because it's really strange to me, his patterns of his phone being turned off whenever he is in that spot. So I've wondered actually for a really long time if they've searched anywhere out there and they just haven't told us that they've done searches out there, because just that like 24-hour period where it shows the way that they're claiming that he went back and how extra long it took, and then him going down south and coming back up, and then the phone goes off again in the same area for like 3 hours. That's just something that I've always kind of wondered if anything, the clothes, the weapon, if it is really this is the trail this is going to go if that Johnson area is really where they should be looking, because the phones going off in that area the way that they did, it's just something I've been wondering about.
Here's my thought, and I'm going to go back to what I said last week again. I've had issue with if Brian Koberger was guilty of this, okay? The background that he has in education with this type of stuff, we know how deep it is, okay? How long he spent, 10 years getting this education in the criminal justice field. He has I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong again, because I get this mixed up all the time, a PhD in psychology too. Or no, a master's degree in psychology, and was working on the PhD in criminology. There we go. Sorry.
There you go.
And so he's got degrees already, guys, bachelor's, associates, blah, blah, blah. He's been through this. He's got a really strong education. Yet, based on what they're saying, he allegedly went in, unalived 4 people, left a knife sheath there with his DNA on it, and held on to the murder weapon. I mean, common sense doesn't go along with book smarts sometimes. I get it. But if you're going to do this, I mean, you could pretty much, and somebody with his education, in my opinion, could pretty much like write out the perfect murder, in my opinion. Okay. And get away with it in a sense. I mean, there's people that watch, what is it? What the hell is that TV show called? Law and Order, and try to do this. Okay. This guy has a real education with it and did those things. Those are some of the things that made me doubt that he was guilty of this. Okay.
Yeah, I'm on the same train with that. There's no way in hell that someone who wanted to help Pullman PD with cloud-based forensics would be stupid enough to not turn his phone off until after he left, to leave the knife sheath, to even have a knife sheath. He would have studied so many cases to where, it's just like the superhero movies. No cape. Okay, well, no sheath, stupid. Like, he'd have known all of these things. But that's another reason why I'm like, okay, is this really like him playing a long game and these things were done purposely? Because one of my first things was, did he go back in the morning to leave the knife sheath because he realized, I don't know, something about his brain kind of tells me it's very possible that he could literally have planned this out, and his studies were literally him trying to figure himself out so that he could make himself whatever those kind of people need to feel inside of themselves. You know what I mean?
Right.
But that is like that's what I say, like, by complete 180. Like, he either did this kind of stupid crap for literally on purpose because he wanted all of this to go right, but for some reason would know he would be exonerated somehow, or he's got the education
100%.
where these mistakes make no freaking sense and there's just no way. Like, I don't see a middleman situation there.
That's where same place I'm at with it. After everything I've looked at, I go one way, and I lean kind of harder to the one side more than I do the other. I'll be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm the same way. I have 2 completely different theories with this. And I'm leaning towards the one that shows his innocence more, in a sense, only because there's so much more on the table that it doesn't fit. It just doesn't fit.
Yeah, and that's why I'm still so back and forth and can't really decide, okay, is he a freaking mastermind who literally planned all this and he planned to get arrested just so he could prove that the court systems are jacked up and they've proven him wrong this entire time because he's tired of the way he feels inside of his brain, blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
Or did he really do all this and he's just too smart to have made these mistakes and this makes no sense whatsoever? I mean, until they show us a viable connection and proof that he targeted them, I want to see paper trail. I want to see concrete. I want it shown to our faces. I just don't see anything that connects them. There's literally nothing that connects him to King Road.
Exactly. Again, we're on the same exact page, same chapter, same book, as always, because it just doesn't make any sense, guys. None at all. Listen, I have sat with Mama Bear. I've sat in here with you guys. I've sat with my wife, with my adult children, my friends, privately, my mother. I've talked about this with multiple people, and no, I've tried to force myself This is no lie. This is ridiculous, but it's a true fact. I've tried to force myself into believing that Brian Koberger did this by looking at what they're giving me. And I've gotten mad at myself. Like, why are you doing this to yourself? It doesn't make sense. So stop doing it. And here I sit in the same boat, feeling the same way I did. So I'm just, at this point, this is where I'm at with it. And I'm not going to force myself anymore, no matter what they tell me. You know, you need to go with what law enforcement says. You need to go with what they're telling you, because they're telling you that's what it is, and so on and so forth. No, I'm not going to do that. Not anymore. It just doesn't make any sense, guys. No matter how many times I say it doesn't make any sense, it still doesn't make any sense.
Right.
So
Yeah, because if it made sense, you wouldn't feel like you would have to force yourself to believe it. It should just be there, and it should be clear and concise and not questionable. And
Right.
they can't do it even with one detail, not even one, even the knife
Nothing.
sheath, nothing. They can't do it with anything.
that's that. And that's the thing, guys. There's so many things we could, no problem. We could sit here and tear apart piece by piece everything they've screwed up. It would take all day, because it's everything they've touched. Okay. The knife sheath, the PCAs, even right now, down to today in the courtroom, guys, there's mistakes every which way you look. And it's all looking away from him. Every bit of it. So when you, like Jules just said, when you can walk out here and present to me multiple pieces of evidence that says this kid did this guy did. I mean, people are saying, well, they have in the affidavit that receipts that he bought the knife at Amazon. So what? I bought knives at Amazon. Men buy knives. Okay. It doesn't mean that knife was used in the commission of this crime. Okay. Do you know how many people have a Marine Corps K-bar knife? There's millions, people, because people respect the Marine Corps and they want to own something that looks like that, or other reasons. I'm just giving you like stupid examples, but it doesn't mean that he did this because he bought a knife. And that's not even been really like blasted out there that he bought that knife at Amazon. Okay. But it's another piece of something they're throwing at us, is all I'm saying. So, I mean, I can't find this in my mind to say that he did this 100%. Like I said, I'd love to, because that would kill a lot of the turmoil, but I can't, and I won't. So I'm just going to sit on this fence and wait to see what they show us.
Yep.
Because that's really all.
I don't even understand at this point. They can't even be like, oh, we have him running out the house on Ring doorbell. 51 terabytes. You're trying to claim you got a video camera right next to the house that picked up this, that, and everything else, but you can't give us any actual footage of all this stuff you apparently have to prove anything, including the car. Like, I just don't understand.
Nobody does. I don't think it makes you wonder if they do. Are you guys sure of what you're doing?
No.
I don't think they are. I really don't.
I question it, really. I mean, I almost feel like, I know a lot of people think that the whole grand jury thing happened because they really just have all this evidence and, oh, he's the one. Okay, well, or it could have been to make the jury even more tainted than it was before the defense had the chance to come out here and tell them, hey, y'all ain't doing y'all's job. You're not giving them what we're asking for. So instead, you put this grand jury thing in motion to where he looks more guilty than he is for what? Because you refuse to realize that you have holes in your case? It's all a game. All of it.
Yep.
They want the biggest case in history to be the first firing range shooting. I'm telling you, they want this to go the way they want it to go so that they have all eyes on them.
Yeah, and exactly. Hashcat says that if they, where'd it go? It was up there. If they had solid evidence linking him to the murders, they would have more than what's in the PCA early on. I agree with that. I think they would. Yeah. It'd be like, when a kid goes and buys a pack of baseball cards and you got specific rookie cards in that pack and your buddy buys a pack and there's nothing in there, you're going to open that up and have those 3 cards in your hand that are really expensive cards or good cards and go, look what I got right here and there. I already got it. You know what I mean? It's like, you would think if they had that great evidence, they're going to put it in our faces and go, here it is, guys. We know he did it. You know what I'm saying? But they're not doing that because I don't think they have it. That's why. And that's why I think they went with the grand jury, in my opinion, because they knew they didn't have that. And they didn't want to give defense that chance to make them look stupid. That's just me, guys. Again. So I don't know. What'd she say? They are trying to win and hide. My examples are stupid sometimes, folks, so my apologies. They are trying to win and hide their own discrepancies. I can agree with that one. I can. There's definitely discrepancies to hide. Dateline needs to be called into court to explain that statement about the Amazon purchase. It implies violation of gag order by LE or prosecution. That's a very good point, Cherokee Rose. Thank you and welcome. Eddie says, I've said he's innocent from early on. I just know it. I cannot prove it, though, which none of us can. Unfortunately, Jules, yes, put him at that crime scene, or else quit patronizing me with all the angry eye stuff. Good point, Eddie. Good point. And that's what they need to do. They really do. And now it's going to be October. And I'm sure, folks, let's see, we're in what, May now? We got 5 months. In that 5 months, we're going to see all sorts of other stuff. Okay, this is not going to lay down and go to sleep until October. I can promise you guys that.
I can't even imagine the insanity made up crap that's going to happen in the next 5 months. Are we going to get a Justin 2.0, you think? Because like it's already been dumb.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. We're going to get plenty of it, folks. We're going to get plenty of it. And you got to be sure, all you guys, to weed through it. Don't believe the hype. Okay. Don't get into it deep, because it's going to be deep. So you got to put your waders on. It's going to be deep. There's going to be things flying all over the place, and it's just going to get worse and worse and worse and worse. So that's why I said we got to stay square and level with this until we get what we're supposed to get, if we get that at all.
Did y'all see the I don't know if y'all brought up the update on the gag order thing from Brian Inton yet? I mean, it was like an hour ago, but I don't remember if we talked about it.
I didn't get to see the final on it.
He just said, judge is not making any decisions today on the Koberger gag order. Hearings set for June 9th to address it. Also a hearing on June 27th to address cameras in the courtroom.
Which then
and then he changed it. Okay, yeah. So y'all, okay, yeah, the correction.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah,
on the 27th is the evidentiary hearing. 27th of what? May? Like in a few days?
I think it meant for June, didn't it?
Oh, June 27th. Okay. Yeah. He just didn't put the months in the other. Okay.
Yeah.
But still, at first I was going to say, like, that's really stupid. Why would you have 2 separate days when you could just put that in the same hearing? But okay, he fixed it. And then the evidentiary hearing,
That one's going to be interesting. I'm about to take another day off work.
Right. Yeah, I knew today was going to be short and sweet. For sure. Now, I wanted to... One second. Wait a minute. Yeah, I agree, Miss Shigal. I've said that before. Jules would make a great lawyer. She's super quiet right now, too.
Oh, like unfortunately, I spent $60,000 on a degree that's collecting dust, and I have no more way to fund going to be a lawyer. So I'll just do it this way. Thank you, though. I appreciate it.
I get it. I said that before, too. You'd be a great lawyer. You're very good at what you do. I'm trying to find, they have to give evidence or defense all their evidence through discovery. They do at their own given time, though, Don Spain. Which they did take their good old time this last portion of it, in my opinion. I still can't. I'm still blown away by the whole judge thing. That I can't let that go. I'm sorry. It keeps floating around in my head. Like, why did he do that? What the hell?
And then not correct himself.
Yeah.
That was not comment on it. Are you still there?
Huh? What?
She disappeared, folks.
Yeah.
All right, now say what you said. You dropped off right when you started to say something.
Oh, I said, and then he didn't even correct himself. Like, he didn't even have the audacity to realize what he did and look straight at her family and say, I am so sorry. I apologize. Let me restart. Like, what? How long have you been a judge, Mr. Judge? I don't comprehend. Yes, I think Steve is probably, if Steve doesn't say something, I'm going to be shocked, or maybe his lawyer just gave him a pep talk ahead of time, because I'm sure inside of his brain he was exploding.
Yep.
Thank you,
Oh,
Don.
yeah. I don't agree with the prevailing narrative here, but I hit the like. Oh yeah, thank you, Don. I very much appreciate that, sir. If they were where'd it go? If I were defense, I'd file immediately for another judge. Yeah. Well, he should recluse himself, in my opinion, but he's not going to, I'm sure.
I wonder if the families can put in a motion to have him replaced.
It's very possible. I mean, at this point,
Yeah.
I mean, the judge or the attorney could. You know, if they go to their attorney and say, "Listen, this guy is an asshole," excuse the language, but like he is for doing what he did, I don't trust it. You know, and they have their rights to speak their mind. So,
yeah, I mean, not just being an inconsiderate jerk face, but never mind the ill preparedness. Like, you don't know what the stuff that's been going on in your town since November, that you've been probably talking to people that are working the case and all. Probably, honestly, I know people they want to act like these things aren't tainted ahead of time, but there ain't no way this dude didn't get a bunch of information from all kind of people before he was even put on this case. So there's no telling what kind of thoughts he's already got in his head. But that just makes it worse, in my opinion, that he's mispronouncing these names. Like, these are worldwide known names. You're literally sitting here speaking them to the man that you are claiming took their lives while you're trying to take his life away, and you can't get the names correct.
yeah, and
It's
again,
just
guys,
disgusting.
right? And here again, like I said earlier on, everybody, as soon as he said, "Excuse me, this is hard," 75% of the world went, "Oh man, that dude's probably friends with the family, or that dude knew them girls, or that ain't cool." That's where everybody's mind went.
Yeah,
folks.
I'm seeing it on Twitter. As I'm scrolling through, I'm seeing a lot of people making comments about that comment already. I'm already seeing it.
Absolutely. I mean, I knew it. I said that right off the get. That was bad. That ruined it right there. Even before he screwed up their names, that was it right there. You're done.
Yeah.
You are done, and that's the end of it. Thank you so much, Chemistry Queen. I appreciate that so very much. And we do the best we can at keeping it real. That's a fact. Yeah. So he needs to just move along, or they need to bring the other judge back, or something like that, because he's already tainted himself. He's done.
Hey, Brooke.
And it's just going to get worse. We got 5 months. You guys understand how this works, right? So in 5 months, the comment he made is going to be something so much worse than what he said in court today, as bad as that was already. Okay. So in 5 months, they're going to have him related to them somehow, or something like that, and this and that and everything else, and that he hates Brian. And I mean, it's going to be that bad, guys. So it needs to change.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
I can already see what's going to start from this.
Oh,
Right.
absolutely. As soon as he did it, I was like, here we go. That was it. Here we go. So, and I feel bad. I'm saying this, you know, I'm sorry to the families of the victims that had to go with it. Xana's family, Kaylee's family, and just any of them that were there that had to go through that today. That was horrible and so disrespectful. So I'm nobody, but I'm saying I'm sorry to them out loud, because somebody needs to say it, because I'm sure he obviously didn't. At least if he did, he didn't do it where everybody could hear him, where he should have. Unbelievable. That's another good question, Giovanna. And I really don't know that one. Does anybody know why they changed judges to begin with? Or is it because of the change of trial?
The grand jury triggered it.
Yeah.
Okay. That's kind of what I thought, but I wasn't sure, so I didn't want to talk about it. But there you go, Giovanna. There's your answer.
Well, she's
Heather,
like a
Emily is a
magistrate.
lawyer.
Go ahead, Jules.
Is that who you were talking about, Emily? Is that the one on YouTube you're talking about?
Emily.
Or Is there
Oh,
somebody in-
I thought you were answering Heather's question. Someone asked who Emily D was. I think she's that lawyer lady with the purple hair that talks on YouTube about what stuff means.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I think no, D Smith must be talking about Emma, not
Emma,
Emily.
not Emily. Yeah, I was confused. Emma
Yeah,
was
me too.
always there at the
Hmm.
house. Where has she been? Where is she? Well, she's in jail now.
Yeah.
Dana
Yeah, and if you
Spread.
guys didn't see, their trial got pushed.
What's the date
I
on that?
did see that. The 30th, I think, right?
Sounds right.
Yeah.
Is it the 30th now? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I haven't been reporting much on that, but I have been definitely keeping an eye on the dates and movements and things as we go along with what's happening here because I'm
Yep. Same.
trying to debunk the situation.
Yeah.
Mm.
Just trying to keep an eye on it.
Who are the sorority head honchos? As far as what, Boone? Like the president and stuff like that of the sorority, or which sorority?
Well, there's a mother apparently, and they are like paid by the school to live there. They're usually alumni, and that's basically who we're told that the sorority and frat people kind of like have to answer to for stuff. If that's what she means by that question.
The house mother, is that
Yeah.
right? The girl.
It was
Girl.
Emily at backdoor partying.
Which girl, Boone? Which one are you talking about? The girl that Emily Alon? Who's okay? I'm lost on that one. Really, that's the president. Oh, you're asking about the president. I'm not even sure exactly who which sorority are we talking about though? There was what, 3 sororities that were involved? Or just 2?
I think 2.
2.
2, okay. I don't know their names specifically. I never really cared enough to look into that. I probably should have, but and the judge pleaded guilty for Brian. In here, that's what I was going to show you guys real quick. Give me 1 second, folks. We can take this down for a minute. Okay, here we go. 1 second.
No, not guilty. He pleaded not guilty for Brian.
Load up. Okay, for those of you that aren't familiar or unsure of what that was, okay, standing silent in a trial, which is what Brian did. His attorney said, Your Honor, Brian is standing silent today. Okay, that means that the defendant does not take a guilty nor a not guilty stance, but has the same outcome as pleading not guilty. It is also known as standing mute. If you are uncomfortable pleading not guilty, if you stand mute, the court will enter a not guilty plea on your behalf. Practically speaking, there is no difference. And why do people do that? And it's listed. They said earlier that it was a strategy, but I'll give you guys the reasons behind it. Sorority head honcho is who I want to hear from. She's the one who got all the info first. Oh, yeah, good point. I understand. So when a prisoner upon his arraignment totally refuses to answer, insists upon mere frivolous pretenses, or refuses to put himself upon the country after pleading not guilty, he is said to stand mute. It was also used as a practical delaying tactic, often combined with other means of postponing trial. That's pretty much it. So you can decide, because we don't really know why, the reasoning behind it based on what we know from the case. As I said, it was stated as a tactic. You know, the judge basically just put in the not guilty plea and moved on. So Gotcha, Mikey.
Yeah, it's an interesting move for sure.
I was kind of surprised. I literally, I'll be honest with you. I've told everybody I've talked to, it's going to take a 10-minute. The whole thing's going to take 10 minutes. He's going to come in. They're going to say this, and he's going to stand up and say not guilty, and they're going to be done, unless the defense tries to contest the indictment, which that didn't happen either. And I was shocked when he did that, and I was like, okay, so be it.
That's what I started to tell you this morning, and I got sidetracked in our conversation. That I thought he was gonna be quiet.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I knew for a fact, I could have almost bet my entire life on the fact that he wasn't going to say guilty. I probably would have fallen out if he'd have done that. But,
yeah, I probably would have just like, I don't even know if he would have came out there and just said guilty, like guilty after all of this inconsistent stuff. I'd have been like, oh boy.
Right. Like, what just happened and where are we?
So is standing mute or silent, whatever, is that the same as pleading the fifth?
It kind of sounds like the equivalent to,
okay,
because that's like for whenever you're being asked questions and whatnot. I feel like it's the equivalent of.
Okay. I was just curious.
So Google says the Fifth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution protects people from being compelled to give testimony that could incriminate them. This is not the same as saying that a person has a right to silence at all times. In some situations, police may use silence as okay. So yeah, basically what Jules said is pretty much, yeah, I'm going to agree with her. But you cannot use that if you're on a stand or anything like that, can you? I do believe that that's not allowed.
On the stand, you can plead the fifth.
Can you? Yeah, that's right. You can. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of like in this situation, you can't say that.
No, yeah.
But
If you being asked guilty or not guilty, you can't stand up and say I plead the fifth. No,
right?
It's verbiage, and you know how all that ceremonial crap is.
Yep. Devil Doll, good to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, Devil.
No, you are not consenting to the court. You stay silent. Also, here's the thing. You can look at it this way too. It's been said that if somebody says they're standing silent or standing mute, whatever one you call it, that if you were to not do that, if you say I'm not guilty, or if you say you're guilty, you could be admitting to that being part of the crime, period, either side of it. Okay. By doing that, you're not even attaching yourself to it in a sense. It's the way they're reading it. So, I mean, whatever. Again, I still feel like it was some form of a tactic, and I can respect that. We shall see if it makes any differences down the road. I don't know. Thank you, Heather. Yes, guys, real quick. I will be live tonight again at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will be telling the true story behind the movie, The Craigslist Killer. Interesting. How about that? For those of you interested, please stop by. I would be glad to have you here. Indeed, you entangle yourself if you consent. That's true. Is it unusual in America for the accused to not, or the accused not to plea? I haven't seen that happen too often, like ever. Honestly, this is the first time I've ever seen anybody stand silent in a trial like this ever, or in a you know what I meant, an arraignment like that. I've never seen it happen. So, it was interesting. I knew there was going to be tactics used in this case that you don't see typically in regular cases, guys, because this is literally like probably the one of, if not the case of the decade, one of the biggest that we're going to see. So,
yeah, I agree.
I can't imagine, and I hope to not imagine anything worse than this or even as bad as this in the future. This was horrific enough. Let me see. I'm trying to catch up with you guys in chat for your questions. And just again, guys, if there's anybody else that wants to jump up here, that wants to speak their piece, ask questions, throw out opinions, anything, we're here to hear. So you are welcome to do so. Crazy thought. If BK is working with someone to help take down a group that are supplying drugs, informant, no plea makes sense. Yeah, that does actually. I can see that. I mean, I don't know if that would be the reasoning behind it, but that does make sense, Cricket. I can understand what you're saying. Chicken, wait, back up. No chains. Andy Libby confirmed Brent's address was not 301, so why use that? Well, you guys talking about Kopaka? Okay. Look ready to meet him and Ann. Mind melt communication with that words look good to go. Yep. What's up? Mikey's in the house. Good to see you, brother. I was wondering where you were. Good to have you here.
Hey, don't dive.
Don't dive. Good to see you as well. Thank you for joining us. Is anyone of the opinion that perhaps BK is leading his lawyer?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, mother. That's my
Without
mother.
a doubt. Without a doubt.
We have thought that from the beginning, mother. 100%. Yeah, I have no question about that. Based on his education, I can't see him not doing that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and the moves being made are definitely different. So that's another reason why I kind of feel like he's got a lot of pull
Input.
here, which is still strange. I mean, yeah, you're kind of supposed to, your person's supposed to agree with what you're doing as a lawyer, but I really do feel like he's telling them where to go.
Yeah. I almost absolutely agree with you on that one.
High strike.
Good point, Mom. Lawyers don't take advice from clients. They follow the law if you're good. Well, here's the thing, CL. I'm sure she's doing that, but I can almost guarantee you that she's listening to every little bit of what he's saying. And I can see him, again, based on his education and, the type of person he seems to be, that if she were to not do things that he wants her to do, I could see him dumping her right now, like literally, seriously. And
she's not used to a client that knows what the criminal system is about. Like I mentioned in my last video, like, I'm no fool. I'm educated. I work in the medical field, but the way that these things are listed, the way that these ICR rules are, I'm confused. And I have some sort of background in it. So she's not used to people that have a clue about what she's talking about, much less have a PhD in what she's talking about. So this is definitely a different situation for sure.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm sure that she's doing her job as the attorney, but I'm sure that she's going hand in hand with what this is what I'd like for you to do. Can you do that? I'm sure he's being professional about it as well. Oh, yeah, sure, we can do that. I can see that going on. I'm just saying, but I really do feel, based on that comment, that he is 100% doing that. And that's true too, Carolyn. I can see him calling her out if he does not feel properly represented, 100%. And he, of all people, would know if he's being properly represented. So there it is again. Is she court appointed though? Yeah, but she's probably the most. What's the right word for this? She's probably the best
credentialed.
Yeah. Thank you. The very best credentialed public defender I've ever seen in my life.
But he still has the right to state a conflict if he so chooses, and they would have to find him someone else. Yeah,
that's right. That is right. And he could do that as many times as he wanted to, I believe, too. Can't he?
I'm pretty sure. I know James Brenner used it as an excuse in Dylan Round's case in this last time that they went to court. That's like his second conflict he's had with an attorney that I know of so far. That's a whole nother situation.
I don't want to get into that in this today. That's a joke.
Lord.
Really, Trophy? Does the attorney have birthing hips, you think? I love her to death. She's a trip. Let's see. Yes, she wouldn't ruin her reputation, in my opinion. No way. I can agree with that. And it wouldn't happen anyway. Like Ann Taylor has put her name out there and made her mark. There's no two ways about that. Yeah, that's another one that should be coming up here relatively soon too. Is Sarah Boone's case. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I don't remember what her date is.
We didn't it get bumped to June 22nd, 25th, or something in there. We're going to be following that too, folks. She's a whole bag of worms. That one's
A whole bag of something.
Yeah. Let me see. She could set this up as a cash cow and milk this for as long as it takes. Most lawyers are doing nowadays. That's a good point, Alien. Good point. Here's the thing. Regardless of what she does in this case, understand she's going to be put out, like she's going to be up there in the books, guys. Whether he's found innocent or guilty, she's going to be in the books now. Right there along with the Kardashian and Johnny Cochran and all the rest of them because of this case. So I'm trying to see if there's any other questions here.
Sarah Boone got pretrial hearing for July 11th.
But they pushed it again. Okay. It was in June, I thought that they had pushed it to, and so they did it again. Gotcha.
Must have.
June 11th, guys. Yeah, we're going to be covering that one too. That's horrible, the way that went down. You guys, most of you guys, some of you guys were here with me when we covered that. It's going to be interesting. He has other lawyers already. They can add, remove, but it's a process and really delays everything. Yeah, he has a panel already, right? There's 2 or 3 lawyers present with what are dealing with his case. Am I wrong?
Yeah, 3. It's Anne, and then that other dude, and then they just brought on another one.
girl.
I think back in March, but we got the paperwork. I don't know, not that long ago.
I can't think of her name. And then there's the investigator they have, like the best investigator you could get, along with the best team attorney. It's crazy. I'm real curious to see the outcome on this one. I really am. Okay, Carolyn said he has 4. Okay, are you counting the investigator with that, Carolyn? I thought there was only
4.
Yeah, I thought there was only 3 actual attorneys and then the investigator. Okay, so yeah, 4. Right, I got you. Actually, I do not believe he's going to remove Ann Taylor. I really truly believe that Ann Taylor is doing all she possibly can, including starting her own investigations on stuff. I agree. I do.
Hey, Mystical.
Welcome, Mystical, again. Someone had in title that DM and BF were there. Really?
Yeah, I saw that, and it's one of those people we give no real credit to because he's dramatic and stupid. That guy. Okay.
I gotcha. No, no worries. Yeah. Here's the thing, guys. Don't believe that. Bethany didn't even want to come from Nevada to. No, it's not true. I'm just going to tell you that. Dr. John, you were wrong. It's October. Detective John is in here too.
Where's
Not
Detective?
4 years from now. I didn't see him in here, but welcome. If I missed you in here, I'm sorry. I'll try that Marshall dub. I have to believe that too many people ended up in the know about what really happened. College kids all know, or any corrupt actions required too many people to keep the secrets. That's a good point. Very good point. There are definitely too many people involved. Way too many people involved in this. And that was from the very beginning. Okay. And again, the mistakes that were made, in my opinion, by law enforcement, are to blame. And I'll say that with no qualms whatsoever. I'm just trying to see if I missed anything else that needs to be put up there. To avoid these other internal conversations. I've noticed that weird truths frustrate people. I mean, that's a good point. People take his confidence as arrogance. He just knows. I agree with that one, Devil. I really do. I think a lot of people think that he is very arrogant, and it's just that he's confident. Okay, just like that traffic stop. Let me use that as an example. That traffic stop that we all saw with the female police officer. I don't even want to say her name, but Nancy Grace put that out there and just blew that out of the water and said how arrogant he was being and cocky and this and that and everything. It was none of that.
Coffin Daffer too.
Yeah, Copenhagen did it.
And then at the end of their little segment, you don't lie to the cops to get out of a ticket while they're commenting on a segment where he didn't get a ticket. Like, they're dumb.
Yes,
I can't stand them so bad.
There's another one that made me not like Coffin Hacker. I'm sorry. I can't stop talking. That's all I can say to her. But yeah, it's not just because you're confident doesn't mean you're arrogant or cocky. Mm-hmm. He's confident. He knows the law. That whole police stop thing, he knew the law. Okay. And if he did not know the law, he said, okay, I'd like to see this. I'd like to know because I didn't know it, and I don't fault him for that. I'd want to do the same thing. And the points that he was making, in my opinion, were very valid points. I live in a rural area. That's where I come from. We don't have crosswalks. I didn't know this. I didn't know that. And I think if she thought that he was being arrogant or lying, that she would have actually given him a ticket. She didn't, guys. It was just like here's a now experience. Take it and learn from it. And he was okay with that. So that's all that was.
Yeah. Or she would have said something besides, oh, no, you're okay. I understand.
Right. Yeah.
He was really respectful and even apologized for asking the questions that he was asking. Yes. I didn't see any red flags in that whatsoever at all. So I just don't understand where they can take something and put a narrative out there to make people see something in it that's not there. It's gross.
It is definitely tunnel vision, folks. Just like this. This is what they see. They don't want to see that. Nancy is very well known for that. Okay. If she's gets something in her mind, that's all there is. We're done with anything else. That's the end of it. And that's the way it's going to be till she's done with it. End of story. So Nancy is not full of that's a good one, Ash. Nancy is not full of grace. She is full of something else. 100%.
Yeah.
I love it. 100% alien. There was a lot of mistakes being made before the cops got there. Yep. That is for sure.
And the crazy part about all this stuff, the 911 call and the stuff coming out and all these people knowing about all of this before the 911 call, as ridiculous and suspicious as it all is, there is a very great possibility that the murders and their stupidity do not have anything to do with each other, which is the biggest problem here, because this literally could just be dumb college kids who don't know how to handle a situation and messed everything up and contaminated a crime scene because they had no idea what they were doing and had nothing at all to do with the crime whatsoever, but could cause a serious issue in
absolutely
what actually happens here.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a absolute fact, Pagan Ways. Now, if he wasn't charged with this murder and wasn't a suspect, people would have thought that stop looked absolutely okay, and that is a fact.
Yep.
We all know that. Okay.
True.
100%. 100%. I think it was supposed to be Kapaka they pinned, but something went wrong. Easy to pin a dead vet, but found out he had an alibi. Very possible. Like I said, everything is possible at this point.
Welcome, Mikey.
Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us, Mikey. We appreciate you. Welcome to the sauce with the rest of the meatballs. It's good to have you here, guys. All you new members, it's great to have you here now, and I appreciate you guys so very much for that. Good point, Miss Paula. There's no way that judge is going to recuse himself based on mispronunciation of name. No. Well, he doesn't think he did anything wrong, obviously, because he didn't correct himself.
Right.
Okay. And you think he's going to pull himself from this trial with the publicity he's going to get for this? I highly doubt that. I'm sorry. Now, if somebody comes to find out something about him with this, which I know, and we all know that there's people digging on him right now, just because of that one comment he made.
Honestly, the person who released that Bethany and Dylan were there today will probably be the first person with some information out on that judge.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. Wow, how we know this YouTube, don't we? I don't care much about. Oh, absolutely, Mikey. No worries, brother. It's great to have you here. I don't care too much about that. I care about him getting emotional. That's kind of what I was talking about, I think the whole thing alone, and that's what I'm talking about, though, Quado. It's like everybody is going to say, why did he get so emotional? Is he close to this? Is he closer to this than he's supposed to be? Is he related to one of them? Did he know them? Does he know? Does somebody in his family know them? This and that, and everything else. Does he have kids that are that? I mean, they're going to pick this apart piece by piece by piece by piece. Somebody will have an answer for it, whether it's right or wrong. It's going to be an answer. I can promise you that.
Yeah, and if it was more of an emotional response than just blatant not give a damn that caused all of that. I mean, at this point, it's been months. So if you're not a parent or an immediate family member, why are you getting so choked up over something if you're not connected somehow? That's how people are gonna attack this.
100%, 100%. I agree. Thank you, Heather. Appreciate that so very much. Small towns, they every time. One moment, folks, if you don't mind. Excuse me.
Hey, Jules, Molly had a couple questions she wanted me to ask.
What's up?
So when you were talking about BK going to Johnson and then his phone would go off, was it confirmed
in the PCA? Yeah.
Was it meant Johnson, Washington, or Johnson, Idaho?
The closer one. I know there was a mistake in the PCA, but if we go off of the timeline that they're giving us, whenever the phone goes off, I'd have to pull my maps back up, but I believe that it's Idaho, because, or maybe it is. I'm gonna have to go back and check, because in that like U-shaped trail that they're trying to state that he takes, I guess it would be the Washington side, because he also passes that way whenever he goes straight down south to go to that coffee shop and that Albertsons. So he would have had to have passed through that same way. So I'm gonna say that it's the Washington side, because if I remember correctly, the Idaho one is like 2 or more hours away from there in the complete opposite direction. And since he's closer to the Washington state line, that way, yeah, it would be the Johnson, Washington.
Okay. That's what a couple other people said was Washington. And then do we know what companies were doing the work to the inside of the house on King Road?
The construction companies? No, I don't believe that we've had any of that information released. Because by the time 911 would have been called, anything that was planned would have been called off. So I don't believe any of the trucks would have ever showed back up after news people were there taking photos. I know we saw that HVAC truck there, which was interesting, because I know they wouldn't be letting those people go in there and do any sort of work after the crime was reported. So I'm still under the assumption that HVAC truck was there because law enforcement needed them there for some reason. It had nothing to do with the inside construction of the house. So whatever that was about should come out, because I don't see any other reason for them being there. Anything scheduled would have been called off.
Right. Now I do know, I don't know if it was one of the lives or something. I'll have to ask Dago when he comes back. Somebody said that the HVAC was there to turn the heat off.
The heat?
Yes, because let me think.
I mean, all they would have had to do was turn off the thermostat. Why would HVAC need to be there for that?
I'm not sure. I'm trying to remember what somebody said.
Yeah, I don't know I don't know about that.
It was something to do with the preservation, I think, of the crime scene, or
they would need it to be colder if they were trying to preserve anything. Because I mean, with this 8-hour difference that we're getting, the bodies would have pretty much been in full rigor at that point. That pretty much sets in at around 8 hours. But again, they could have just turned down the degrees on the whatever I'm guessing central unit, 3-story house, most likely a central unit. I didn't see any window units or anything like that. They could have had like plug-ins in there. in their rooms, but those usually have vents that come out the window regardless anyway. So I'm going to guess the whole thing was central. All they would have had to do was turn it, down and make sure the heat didn't turn off. I don't see why a specialist would need to be there. Not a regular HVAC, maybe a
Right.
commercial HVAC. They would need maybe colder degrees than normal, more like commercial freezers maybe, but that's a 3-story house. So I don't know. I mean, and it's not like the bodies were kept there for days and days and days. They would have been taken
Right.
the same day. So yeah, I don't know what in the world that HVAC truck was there for. I've been curious about it since the second I saw it.
Yeah. That is
Hello.
interesting.
Sorry, everyone.
Hello. It's okay.
We're talking about the HVAC truck again. I'm curious about that. I've been curious about that from the beginning. I never did.
Yep. Seems to be the
Well, only thing,
consensus.
but here, let me I had to re-understand this because it's been a while. Was that there before or after?
No, I would have had to have been there after because no media cameras would have even been there before the 911 call to notice anything.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
and that's what we were talking about because if they were doing any sort of construction inside of the house, because that's what we're being told is that stuff was being done in the house by some sort of company, then as soon as 911 was called, all that stuff would have been called off. They weren't going to let those workers come in there to an already tainted crime scene. They're not that stupid at this point, so they wouldn't have just allowed them back in there. So that HVAC truck would have had to have been called there by law enforcement for some reason. I just don't comprehend what for.
the only thing I could think of in my mind was it was cold out. Okay. And I don't, honestly, God, that doesn't even make sense either. To fix
Yeah,
the
that's
heat.
what we were just talking about. They would have needed to be more cold if they were trying to preserve
Yeah,
anything. But the
that's what I
bodies
would,
weren't going
yeah.
to be there for days and days. They were taken out, after the scene was photographed and they did whatever they did. It would have just been a few hours after.
Nope. Mikey's got it, I think, right there. Then again, I mean, maybe they need to remove a part of a duct because blood may have got down in there that they were checking for DNA or something, maybe.
Possibly.
That's it.
See, I've been more wondering about the damn drains than the ventilation system. So maybe a plumber showing up would make some sense to me. But unless there was something in the vents that they couldn't get to without a specialist, they would have had to have maybe seen something in there and called somebody in to come in and take it. I know somebody mentioned cameras, but I mean, cameras can be fed through piping without an HVAC specialist. So that's
true.
Yeah.
I am curious though, like what did you need that person for? Like why couldn't you do that?
Yeah, I don't.
Splatter, even with Splatter, Lupo, by the way, welcome. Like they have forensics have cameras that they can do stuff like that with.
Yeah,
CSIs,
Yeah, and any cleanup, I'm actually kind of curious of the cleanup that was done because I know that they were going to be having a specialized cleanup team come in and then that was called off. And now they're wanting to demolish it. But I'm wondering if they've actually cleaned it or is there still biological matter sitting in that house today?
Oh,
I've been really curious about that. Yeah.
Well, and when they started to tear the house down and they froze that, did the defense say don't touch nothing?
And you see, and that's another thing. Like we already know that it was like this, the process was beginning. So how much was already messed up from whenever they were in there collecting evidence to whenever that was finally put to a stop?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, Steve's interview made it seem as if the university is listening to the fact that the family wants to put the demolition off. But I'm still just more concerned with it because like we already know the original crime scene was tainted and now all these other companies and people have done walked through. This whole thing is just a disturbing mess.
100%. Every bit of it.
That was something I told Dago this morning when we were talking. I was like, if this case isn't screwy enough, they add a judge to it.
Right.
Yeah, they knew what they were doing.
Here there's another option too, based on kind of something somebody said. HVAC. This house was two houses. Well, there was an addition put on, and there was that hidden room in the house upstairs in the closet that was a room, whatever the hell that was. Maybe they had them come in to check for ventilation inside that room to see if to get in there to see if there was something in that ventilation. You know what I mean? in the vent tracks is what I don't know what the hell they're called. I'm not an HVAC guy, but the vent system, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? If they're checking the walls to see if there was anything inside there, maybe. I don't know. It doesn't make a lot of sense, guys.
Really doesn't.
I'm reaching at this point to try to find something that does make sense.
Yeah, maybe we'll get information on that depending on what evidence is presented, because they'll have to say how it was extracted.
Real quick, what does anybody think about that room alone? That closet looked like a closet. There was actually another room. Does anybody have any thoughts on that?
What do you mean?
Did you see pictures of that room that's in the one bedroom? It's a closet. There's a rod in there to hang your clothes on. There's a latch on the door or on the wall in the corner. It looks like an actual door to another room.
I thought it was just a little closet.
I mean, I can't say that I noticed that actually.
Yeah, it looked like a closet, and it's got the rod, like a coat rod that you hang your clothing on, or whatever you call those. And then you can see that it's set into the wall, okay? And then there's a latch on the edge of that. It looks like a door latch where it would connect against the wall, like when it closes or opens. And it looks like a door that is put into the wall. I mean, it sets in about...
yeah, I'm gonna have to see that because that's interesting.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting.
Like a secret. Could you tell by the layout what room it connected to?
It was in a bedroom. It was in one of the bedrooms. I couldn't tell when I saw the picture of it which bedroom it was in for sure.
I don't think any of the bedrooms shared walls, right? They were all pretty apart from each other.
They were separate. Yeah, they were separate. I don't know if I still have that picture, Heather. I can't remember even where I got that picture from, but I remember looking at it going, what the hell is that? And then hold on a minute. Did you send that to me, Heather?
That, or it was one of Molly's 3D
Have you guys, yeah.
video.
Yeah. Well, it was an actual picture I saw though. Like you could see the painted wall inside and the shelf and then the coat rod and
Red said split level attic access, most likely.
Well, yeah, but then the rooms had those cubbies, okay, that were like what I thought was attic access. I'm not into construction or any of that. I don't know a lot about that kind of stuff, but it was interesting to say the very least. That's why whoever no, it was bigger than a crawl space, Cricket. It was an actual door that you could go into a room with it.
I mean, honestly, we'd almost have to see the architectural blueprint at this point because that house has been remodeled. So that could literally lead to nothing, or it could lead to something. Yeah, we don't know what the construction with that used to be, what it could be now. But that is weird.
If you look at the like from the outside, if you look at the house, you can literally see the initial house. And then you can see the addition that was put on with the deck and all that stuff on the backside. Okay. I mean, I'm guessing that was the addition because the second part of the house or the first part of the house doesn't look like it. Yeah, it was a false wall behind the closet with a latch. Exactly, Cricket. And I had never seen it until I saw that picture. And I was like, what the hell is that?
Let me see if I have it. I'll be right back.
You're not really going to have attic space in between floors. Right. And like the first thought I had was like, well, did somebody hide inside that room and then come out when they came home?
Do we know where like the hot water heater and the what you call them were?
I think they were on the first floor.
What do you call the electric things? The switches, the main switches?
The breaker box.
That
breaker
thing.
Box. Yeah.
I'm smart, I'm telling you.
Hold on.
I'm still here. I was trying to find pictures.
Circuit breaker. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to see that
box.
the door.
I'm going to venture to say that. I mean, I don't know. That house looked older. It could have. I don't think it had an old school fuse box. It probably had a breaker box in it.
Oh, I'm sure it was modernized inside. Yeah, all that was probably redone, especially for college kids.
It looked pretty new. Collecting stuff for hair, for DNA, in an HVAC truck. I don't know. I'm still like a little weirded out by that.
Actually, that's a good point. Because if the ventilation systems were on, then it could have picked up hairs, skin cells, stuff like that. But I mean, you'd think if they found anything, they'd give us more than some touch DNA. They can't really give us anything real on.
Well, just like his storage closet that had cobwebs in it, they thought that they found the smoking gun there, and there was absolutely nothing in it. Maybe they thought they were going to find something, and they didn't.
Yeah, I was curious about why they acted so surprised about that in the first place, because WSU should have known the way that apartment building works and that they all had little lockers like that, and it should have been included right away. They should have known that.
Right. I can agree with that. HVAC clears all vents and pipes in the south to help the central air function more efficiently, and they basically vacuum out all the dust and other contamination from the vents into a container. Maybe that could have been it right there. That's what is it? Amethyst Snore. That's an interesting name. Welcome, first of all, and second of all, they do have those vacuums that they use in their trucks to suck out your ventilation system, which I need to have done here, by the way. And maybe they did that and collected into a container, and then they probably turned it over to forensics to go through.
Yeah, that's kind of on this. I think that's kind of what the other person was trying to say too. So yeah, that seems like the consensus. That's the only thing that makes sense.
Okay, it's one of these.
Oh, there's the.
Okay, do you see these closets back here on the back wall? It's a closet like that, mostly like the one on the right. Okay. And it's got that, whatever that clothing rod is. And there was a little latch to the left side. It wasn't this big wide one, Mama Bear. That's a crawl space or a cubby, whatever you want to call that. Over here. Yeah. But it was something similar to this here, set in like that with that rod, and there was a latch to the left side of it, like it opened up.
Oh.
It was weird.
Yeah, that it would be a little strange.
Back in the USSR, said I heard it was a storage bedroom. Okay. I've never seen that before, but
this is a reminder.
Oh, I got you, Chick Antique. Okay. I wasn't sure where I saw the picture itself. I know somebody had sent it to me, and I just was like, where'd that come from? Yes, you did, Trophy. Yes, you did. You actually had a good idea, too. Also, yeah, the HVAC has camera systems they use to inspect, and they have remote control mini robots. That's true, too. Or if we want to just be pretty boring and right to the point, what if there was just a malfunctioning furnace and they came to fix it? Very possible. Thank you, Heather. Okay. All right, guys, give me 1 second. I'm going to pull this. And let me see if I have this here.
It's not in these.
Okay, hold on. Yeah, I was curious about that too. Oh, okay. Alyssa sent me that. I knew it was somebody from in here that was a subscriber. So thank you, Alyssa. I appreciate that. My email is so overloaded that it would take me hours to find it. What? Oh, that is hold on.
Oh, so it's in the room that everyone originally assumed was Dylan's, is what I'm assuming from Alyssa's comment.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. Let me blow that up for you, too. Okay. See the rod there? And then there's a door latch right there. See it?
Yeah.
I just was like, that's pretty wicked.
That's interesting. And that's in the one that was apparently empty.
Yeah. It looks like it. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not saying it had anything to do with this, but it's just
An interesting
interesting.
detail.
Yeah, right. It's interesting. You never know. The first thing I was thinking is I looked at it because we always think crazy things. What what if people were hiding in there and came out after the fact, and that kind of thing. But
I mean, one of my original theories was this person was hiding out in the house until they all went to sleep. But then that was before I knew just how busy the house was.
Yep, that's my thought. That was exactly the first thing I thought too. Is that he or they were in the house hiding, everybody went to sleep, and boom. But we all know now that they were not sleeping, so that's a better picture of it. Brighter picture. Thank you very much, Heather. I always thought that was odd. The first time I saw that, like, wow, that's weird.
Yeah, it's a bit strange.
Mm-hmm. Made you wonder if it was used for hiding things, or maybe like a pan. Maybe it's like a pan. No, it wouldn't be a panic room. But regardless, still, latch door, hidden spaces, getting too close for safety with this. Yeah, I can agree, Laurel. It's, I don't know. You can take it red. That's the biggest I can get it. Well, maybe not. It doesn't. It makes it blurrier. But it looks. Doesn't it look like there's like water leakage or something coming through here? Something leaking here.
It does kind of look like some sort of water damage, huh?
Mm-hmm. Like something was leaking down through it.
That's weird.
It's definitely different.
I wonder if there's a bathroom above there.
Ew.
Yeah. Well, if you look on the floor on here, it looks like there's something there leaking that leaked there too. See it? Like the floor is darker in this one little spot here. I don't know. It's definitely interesting either way. It makes me want to look at the blueprint for the house now to see if it's in there, because we have another portion of a closet here, that rod there, and shelving here. And I don't remember when we went through the virtual tour on this house. I don't remember seeing this, unless it's just not there. Like if it was added after the fact or something like that. Somebody took this wall. I mean, you could see from the outside of the house, if you're looking at it, the size of the rooms and where something would go. And I was trying to find it and figure it out, and I really couldn't. It's kind of weird.
Hey, Red, what is a slider?
Like a slide door.
Sliding door.
But it wouldn't slide because it's a solid panel. If it went that way, it would have to pop out in the middle of that doorway there.
I mean, it could be. It could go inside the wall.
But it would have to fold up. Look,
Vic says that BF Bethany mentioned, and everyone assuming she meant the main one.
If this went into the wall, because on the other side of this that's a doorway, right? Right here, isn't this a doorway?
I don't know. It cuts off.
I mean, I think, or a hallway, so you can't slide it open because it'll come out here somewhere, unless it was an accordion door, which it's definitely not.
I don't see a split in the middle. Yeah.
So
I don't know. That's weird.
Unless it goes this way, which that doesn't make sense because of where the latch is. So yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just it was odd to me. Could
exactly,
slide behind. Viv Keenan, welcome. Good to see you. There was a rumor that the cubby was used for. I had heard that too. USSR, and I also heard that this was used for that too, because at some point, well, this looks hinged to me because of the way the handle is on the door, that it would just swing inward, like you could push it inward. I mentioned that I thought that this house could be a hub for drugs, okay, because of it being the house that it is and the partying that they did. And so, my mind's telling me, okay, so they could hide large amounts of drugs in this wall space and nobody would ever know. Your clothes are hanging there. You don't know that's there. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. That was kind of where I went a little down the rabbit hole a bit, kind of like, okay. Dog sniffing out the blood trails on the white snow. I could have followed the blood, right? Let's see. Oops, sorry. I can tell you what we hit in hours. It was the late 70s, early 80s. Yeah, see, I've seen like rooms like this. People will put plants in there with lights and grow their own stuff. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that's what this was for, but you know, I've had people when I started asking about this here. I've had people send me things saying, I heard it was a meth lab. I heard it was a grow room. I heard it was this. I heard it was a, the one I did laugh at this one. I heard it was an S&M torture room. And I'm like, what?
People
Anything
are
else?
insane.
Yeah, right. So whatever. I mean, I'm not going with any of that stuff. I'm just telling you those are the things that people sent me. But I do feel like drugs could have been hidden in there 100%, you know, without a doubt. Because again, nobody would know that existed. So best place to hide things. The house was built in 1959, renovated in 2019, which must have been when they added. Is that when they added the addition? Or was the addition built initially with the house? Because I feel like this has been there like the whole time.
That does look older. That was probably there since it was originally built.
Yeah.
It looks
that's
like an
my
older
thought.
structure.
Right. Mushrooms don't need light. That's a fact. My confessions are sliding by. I got you, Alien. I got you. I just looked utility room and laundry behind that wall between bedrooms. Thank you, Mikey. So
Hey, Jago, where did you get that picture from?
Heather sent it to me. I don't know. I don't remember. But I had, who was it up here said she sent it to me.
Alyssa
McGrath sent me. Yeah.
Molly was asking.
Okay. And she says you can push that open. Alyssa says. So it's just like an inward opening door with hinges, I'm sure. Or, I mean, I'm gathering because of the latch that it's not just a piece of wood that comes off. It's going to have hinges on the inside of it. Let's see here. That's a good point. D. Smith says, who actually knows what was taken out in the U-Haul truck, right?
Mm-hmm.
Very true. I think the blood would have ended up at the Moscow police station. Oh, is evidence? Well, I mean, it has to go to the lab, but yeah. Kaylee was real new to the house and only one not of that sorority. Was she going to expose what went on in this hidden room? Is that what she told Adam about? I don't know, Laurel. I don't. Who knows? Who knows what that is? I don't know. I'm sure that we could go that way with it, but I don't know. Didn't
Hey,
say
Molly wants me to show you a couple things.
Oh, absolutely.
All right.
CL says a false door. The 3D house scans which show what it is. Well, see, I thought so, but when I did the virtual through it, I don't remember seeing it unless I just didn't see it. I'll have to go back and look at that. Sort of looks like there is a code box on that handle. Yeah, it kind of does a little bit. I'm not sure because I couldn't get super close to it. Go ahead and bring up what you want to bring up, Mama Bear.
All right, there's two of her videos, and then I'm going to show you a couple drawings.
Absolutely.
These were, she put these on her channel 5 months ago, so keep that in mind.
5 months ago. Is there audio for this?
Yeah, can you hear it?
No.
Hold on.
Remember the little box you got to check at the bottom?
Yeah, I forget about that little box.
It's okay. It's okay. It took me 6 months to figure that out.
Jeez.
The investigation house scans they brought in is what I meant. I got you, CO.
All right, now let's see. Now can you hear it?
No. I can't. I don't know if anybody else can, but I can't.
Whoops. You can or can't?
Cannot.
Oh. I clicked the dumb little box. Dang it.
So the drawings or whatever were right after, like a month after the unalivings happened.
Yep. Can you hear it?
No,
Why not?
I don't know.
Mm.
What's up, Brian? Good to see you. Thank you.
All right. So you said hit present.
And then you'll see down and go up and click the box, the whole entire frame or whatever it is,
Entire screen.
one time, and then go back down and click the little tiny box in the left-hand corner,
Yeah.
and then go up top again and set it.
To the video.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I did.
Hey guys, I'm gonna hop off and go do some stuff with my kids since I didn't have work today.
Okie dokie.
All righty, and I appreciate you so much again, Miss Jules. Thank you for being here.
Oh, no
Thank
problem.
you, hon.
Bye guys. Have a nice
Bye.
day.
Okay. We're gonna be bringing it down here soon, anyway.
Yeah.
Good God. Scared the death out of me. Yeah, Trophy, right here in the chat. You can jump up here real quick if you'd like to. Right there in the chat. No deal, huh?
Molly, I'll figure it out. Maybe we can do it tomorrow or something.
Yeah, I definitely
Or I
want to.
can email it to you and you can show it tomorrow since I have to work.
We could do that too. Guys, what did you think of the judge? You don't want to know, Brian. You don't want to know. We talked about that for a minute. We are not fans of the judge.
Judge.
Judge John Judge. Like, who names it? Whatever. That was never verified. For sure. They said that he was walking towards that sliding door, but then she never said anything about seeing him actually leave the house. So he could have turned around when she shut the door and went back in and went out the front door or something. Who knows? We want to think that he went that way, but Soapy said the judge was high. At that point, yeah, I would not doubt it. Mommy Bear, give me a second. I'll be right back if you don't mind.
All right. Hello, hon. How are you? Are you there? What are you guys saying? I first saw about this store on Michelle's channel when she discovered it. Oh, it was on Michelle's channel you saw it? Interesting. Did you email them to him, Molly? Aw, Brian. Aw, that's horrible.
What's going on?
Brian said, I am a crier. However, did not expect it. When I saw the G family walking down to the sidewalk, I just lost it. They just looked wiped out, beat, lifeless.
I agree. Where did Trophy Wife go?
I don't know. She keeps popping up and up and down. And I said hi and didn't hear anything. So I don't know what she's doing.
The judge is as good as my Lunesta. Good point, Brian. Good point. You guys are great, and I appreciate you guys all being here. I watched one Superior Court judge 3 hours and called police to get her tested for being drunk. I can believe that, Carolyn. I've seen it. What are you doing, Trophy?
Elantra?
Yeah, right. It was torture. Yes, I agree. You guys are a trip. Annie, are you having troubles, Trophy Wife?
Molly emailed you the videos and stuff, by the way.
Oh, okay. I think she wants me to look at them.
Hey, Casey. Aw, thank you, Sophie.
Okay. Well, let's see if it works for me now. Let me know if you guys can. Well, that was before, but
yeah.
All right, let's see what happens.
This dream was kind of short. I was walking in a room towards a set of stairs. Only certain things had color. And it was the same colors I saw in the other dreams. The colors, pink, red, blue, purple. I looked up the stairs and the sides was a deep red color. The light at top of the steps was purple, and every other step was purple. I saw an opening above me like an attic. It had red light in it. I also seen a hand holding the side of the opening. The rug I was standing on was a light blue and pink, with one spot in the middle that was a darker blue. I do not think it is the actual color of the objects in the room. I think it is the colors themselves that are very important. What do you think? Do any of you know or see a connection with these colors to the case in Moscow, Idaho? If you do, please comment what you think.
Brett, I think he might drive a juke versus a judge. Well, we're probably about done for now, Sophie, but we'll be back he will be back at round 7 for the.
Yeah, I'm about to bring it down for the day, guys. We've been going for
almost 4 hours.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys are burnt out on me for a little bit, but tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm doing a true story behind the Craigslist killer tonight for anybody interested. The movie on that, and of course, I will be back tomorrow with more of this. Really, Red, you distracted me completely. completely distracted me with that. I was like, what the hell is he talking about? But yeah, I will. Don't be so judgmental, judging the behavior of Judge J. Judge. Say that 3 times fast. Thank you, Hash. And thank you, Heather. Again, guys, this channel is 100% crowdfunded from you, for you, by me, to you. Can you say that? Anyway, there are the links for that, folks, for anybody that should feel like they want to contribute to support the channel. It is so very much appreciated. And I do appreciate you all so very much just for being here as well. So thank you guys so very much. I appreciate you all for being here today. And again, I'll be here tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for that story. If not, I will see you guys tomorrow anywhere between noon and 12:30 for sure. And we are jumping right back into it, guys, because there's a lot more to talk about. Thank you guys so very much. Don't forget, guys, to love yourselves and love each other. And don't change a thing, because you guys are amazing people. I thank you so very much. Mama Bear, thank you. Moderators, thank you. Everybody that jumped up on the panel to speak their mind, thank you. And Miss Jules, thank you so much. Besides that, guys, I will see you very soon. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys. If I don't see you tonight in chat, I will see you probably Thursday. So take care, and I'll talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.